This is the X&C Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, X&C Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox Newscast. Welcome to the show. I wish you could have seen it backstage. Meg and I, Meg was like, how much time do we have till we go? I go, about 1 minute. And he was telling me a story, and I was dying laughing, and then the timer ran out. But we're glad to be here, just to make sure everything works right.
59-second rant.
Yeah, it was, and it wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough. Hopefully everything goes smoothly today. A big shout out to GameSeeker and Harjeet Chani for helping me push my PC to Windows 11. I was running on a 4-year-old build of Windows, pretty much, and it was a big deal. So hopefully everything's good. Sounds like Meg and I are there on the mics. How are you tonight, bro? Besides pissed.
Excellent. No, I'm not pissed at all. It was so funny because Colt says to me, he's like, dude, he's like, how long do we have? He goes, we have 1 minute. So I gave him a 59-second rant about something that happened over the weekend, and I ended it just as we were about to go live. So Colt is just like buckled over laughing, and then we're like, and welcome to the X&C show. So it was kind of funny, but either way, I can't talk about it live on the air, folks.
He was being super toxic against people, and I was slapping back with some more toxicity, and then we're like, oh, well, we got to put on a good fit. No, we're just kidding. But we're really happy to be here. No. And you and I haven't talked all week. Like, this has been one of the biggest gaming weeks for the entire planet, with big Nintendo reveals and a lot of stuff that really affects you if you're mostly on just PlayStation or Xbox or even PC. There's big changes coming. We're going to get into those in the meat of the show. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about some new leaks. Jez Corden is sharing some new Xbox reveals that are coming up that we haven't even heard about yet. So there is more in the fire. And we're also going to talk about, I don't remember. I've got the topic scrolling across the bottom, but I thought I would figure out, we should probably start the show and talk about what we've been playing. Mag, what have you been doing on your free time?
Well, I've been rather busy. I'm almost done. I'm on the second last level, or if not the last level of Split Fiction. It still stands as the further I get into that game, and it really gets even more bombastic and more exciting and more action-packed, and even very sentimental in some spots when you get to like the story beats in between the level. It really is. I'm measuring every game against that game now. That game is now my gold standard for game of the year, and then what I'm just gonna have to measure everything, next to that. So I'm absolutely having a ball with that. We're also going to talk about South of Midnight tonight. I'm going to be moving on to, what else am I moving on to? I'm still playing Star Wars Outlaws. I rolled the credits on it. Fantastic game.
Oh, you did?
But yes, I rolled credits on it. However, I'm going to go back and get that completion. So now I'm running around. I'm going to the Sarlacc pit, getting like teeth for Jawas and some other stuff. And
what?
Yeah, you have to go to the Sarlacc pit. And
can I ask you, give me your favorite and the thing you hate the most about that game. What's your favorite thing and the thing you really don't like about Star Wars Outlaws? Because people are split.
My favorite thing I gotta say is the entire game, like the atmosphere, the mood, the music, the setting, the fact that you really do. Someone messaged me actually and says, "Dude, you are 100% right. I bought the game, and it literally feels like they dropped you in the middle of the original Lucas trilogy. Like you really feel like you're there, Mos Eisley and all these other places, and you're just walking around, and there's, like I said, there's banthas and wampas and Jawas and all this other stuff, and you're just there, and steam coming out of pipes, and you know what I mean? Like it just really feels like you're in that dirty sort of Star Wars universe from the original trilogy. Music is a 10 out of 10. But I gotta say, the one thing I do not like is these side quests that basically is just run back and forth. So like you go to like a Jawa and you're like, hey dude, what's up? What do you need? And he's like, oh, I need a tooth from the Sarlacc. You're like, all right. So you go to the Sarlacc, you grab the tooth, you go back to him, and then you give it back to him, and then he's like, all right, you got to go back to Mos Eisley and go get this part for me. I'm like, come on, dude. So then you go back over there, get the part, go back to the Jawa, and then he's like, all right, I'll do the upgrade for you. And I'm like, why did you make me run in circles just to get this part? Like, just say, hey, the part is in like whatever, and then you've got to traverse through X, Y, and Z and defeat all these enemies, and then at the end of that little level, you can get the part and go back to the Jawa. But instead, you're just sending me in these fetch quests back, forth, just for one thing. That's the only annoying thing. Yeah. Brandon Christensen, what's up, dude?
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah. That's
I'll
basically
pick
it.
that one up eventually.
Loving I'm loving the hell out of it. I'm loving the hell out of it. And then, of course, we got a couple other things to talk about. We will talk about briefly tonight. I expect to be playing Oblivion in the next few weeks. And then we're going to dovetail directly into, what's it called? Expedition 33. That looks like a great game.
It's crazy.
I know it's turn-based, but it looks fantastic. Yeah. And then we're going to go right into Doom the Dark Ages right after that. So it's a very exciting time. So,
and then there's that Blue Prince game that everyone just learned about today. Is like a 92 on Metacritic. It's coming to PS Plus and Game Pass. It's a first-person roguelite. It's called Blue Prince. It's like a mystery mansion game. Yes. Yeah, and Xbox Era put out a really great, highly well-produced review of it. And I'm like, oh, it's not really my thing, but I can see why it would totally capture the hearts. That's coming to Game Pass and PS Plus. I've been playing, I finished South of Midnight the night before Embargo. Embargo was 10 a.m. And just because of all the traveling and family stuff I've been doing, I got to South Midnight so late, but I want to give my impressions about that. I've also been playing, this is so funny. I talked, Fonz Gaming, Jay Fonzarelli, he was playing Rage 2, and I'm like, I don't know what made me, we were both playing Rage 2. We like loaded it up, and it made me think about Borderlands. And he's like, I've never liked Borderlands. I don't like it. I know everybody loves it, and like, I'm not excited about it. I don't really play them. And I don't know how. I just like, download Borderlands 3. It's on Game Pass. And so we both downloaded it, and he jumped in, and he told me this morning. And if you know Fonz, he's like, if you grew up in the 80s, you know, the Mikey likes it. There's an old commercial where the kid's eating cereal, and this one grumpy kid's like, oh, I really like the cereal. And they're like, Mikey likes it. He really likes it. Mikey doesn't like anything. And that's kind of how Fonz is really picky like I am. He texted me this morning. He's like, thank you so much for forcing me to play Borderlands. I can't wait to play our next session together. So we're like 20 some hours into Borderlands 3. It's not even the best one, but we're just having a great time playing that. So
dude, they're fantastic games. They're well made. The last Borderlands 3, I played it on Xbox, and I got, no joke, I got 3,000 out of 3,000 achievements on it. Because of all the, was it 2,000 or 3,000? I don't know. I have to go back and check the app, but it was either way. I did the main game. I got 1,000 out of that, and then I got 1,000, whatever the heck, on all the DLC. Because I cannot get enough Borderlands. Mm-hmm. The gameplay loop is so addictive. It's so good. It's so much fun. And it's just like, you just can't stop. It's like crack. It's kind of like Call of Duty. It's like, you know how Call of Duty has that loop that you just can't get out of? It's like shoot, run, die, repeat, shoot, run, die, repeat. And you just keep wanting more and more and more. And it makes no sense. But the same thing with Borderlands. You just can't stop playing it. And it's so smooth. The gameplay is so smooth and so responsive. The guns are fantastic. Everything about it is just great, and I love and it's gorgeous to look at.
It just like jumps off of my OLED, like with the HDR and the colors and that art style, and it's just so sharp and I was kind of like, well, Borderlands 3 kind of let me down, and I really like Tiny Tina's Wonderland. Like that one was like, okay, this is great. Well, you know, and I love that one, but the reveal for Borderlands 4 this year for me has been like, I'll probably play it. Like that was my attitude.
Oh, dude, we're gonna play the heck out of it.
Yeah, and after playing Borderlands 3, I'm like, Fonz was like, I'm so excited for 4. And I said, yeah, I'm finally actually really excited the way I should be for Borderlands 4. And that one's coming to Switch too. And it's such a good year.
It is a great year. Here it is, Colt. Here it is. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you ever wonder if I'm a fraud, I got 81 out of 81,000 achievements for 2175 out of 2175 on Borderlands 3. Everybody see that? That game was so good, I could not stop playing. I don't know how many hundreds of hours it took. I can't remember for the life of me. But yeah, it's been an absolutely amazing experience. I cannot wait for 4. I'm going to be streaming the living hell out of Borderlands 4 on my channel when it comes out, because the great thing is you can play up to 4 players, right? So I could cycle players in and out all the time. Like, it's not like just going to be a co-op experience and that's it. It's going to be a little bit of everything, right? I'll be with my son or my wife or both, and then I could throw. I know Noof Nukem wants to get in there. I can get in there with you, Colt. We can do it. I mean, we can just have a blast.
I played with Noof way back in the day. Cerebral Cess, this is what TV you got. I've got the C3 65-inch OLED. Looks fantastic on PC and console, and it's awesome. I love it. If you want to spend the money to upgrade your gaming setup, the TV is probably the best way to spend your money, because you're going to get TV and movies and games looking the best they can, and it's really worth it. And it sucks because I think I spent like $1,800 on this TV, and it was on sale for like $1 last year, or like dirt cheap. But I want to know from the chat, because as Mag and I sit here and glaze Borderlands as a series.
Just glaze.
I don't even know don't even tell me. I haven't even looked yet. I haven't rewatched I've watched the trailer a couple times, but I don't even know who the classes are. I'm going to leave it that way for as long as I can. But let us know in the chat if you like Borderlands, because I feel like it's one of those series that people are like, I love it. And then there's people like, I could care less. But yeah, we'll see. I'm excited about that. What else I've been doing? I'm just kind of piddling around. I've been playing Titanfall as well, which is that, Fallout Light.
Oh, yeah,
I kind of set that game down for a while.
All right. We talked about that last week briefly.
Yeah.
You were mentioning that. I was asking people what they thought about it, but
I think I might have played it a bunch that night after we did the show last Monday, and then I moved to some other stuff. But forcing myself to finish Borderlands 2 is painful. I'm never going back in. Borderlands 2 is almost almost
God tier.
Yeah, it's like almost perfect. It's funny, it's insightful, it's punchy, it's so varied, and the writing in 3 is so horrid compared to Borderlands 2, where you'll laugh out loud many times.
Borderlands 3, the only thing that saves it is the gameplay, and those environments are so absolutely stunning to look at, and just be in, like, just to be in the worlds. Are absolutely incredible. But the writing is not there, but everything else is there, so it kind of keeps you involved, right? So, I mean, hey, man, listen, everybody has their opinion. It's all good. I always respect everybody's opinion, but I got to say, in my personal opinion, when they put... You know what really did the resurgence for me? I remember playing Borderlands 1 like way back in the day. I rented it at Blockbuster Video for the Xbox 360, right? Way back when. And it didn't really connect with me, right? It just wasn't. I was just like, all right, I'm not really getting this. And I wasn't playing those type of games yet.
It was a 360 title. I remember the day,
it was a 360 title, yeah. And I didn't buy it, excuse me. I rented it at Blockbuster. And so I was like, all right. And I'm like, this is not really connecting with me. And at that time, I wasn't playing those kind of games. Like, looter, shooter, action, RPG kind of thing. I wasn't really doing those. So it really wasn't my, really wasn't my bag. So I'm like, okay, well, I just returned it. And then years later, the Handsome Jack collection showed up in Game Pass. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, I do.
And so they put the Handsome Jack collection in Game Pass. And I was like, well, let me see what all the hype is about, because people were talking about how amazing it was. And I'm like, let me go back in. And then I went back in with a different frame of mind in terms of like my gaming, my gaming tastes and things as they change over time. Right. And I went back in there. I'm like, holy crap. This is like God tier gaming right now. This is
if God made crack.
Yeah. I'm the one who knocks.
So I remember, I
amazing.
Seeing the first trailer for Borderlands 1, and if anybody remembers what that song was, I think it was something Elephant. It was like that indie, like bluesy rock song. I can't remember. This is way back in 2009, I think. 2009 or 2011. Anyway, 2009, I think it was. Rage the Elephant was the artist, and it was, what was that song? I got to look it up, because Cage the Elephant, that's what it was. Cage the Elephant. I have a problem, Mag. If I don't like a song, it will bother me. It will turn me off of liking something. And Cage the Elephant had this. Ain't no rest for the wicked. Yeah, that's what it was. I can't remember how it goes, but it's like a bluesy rock song. And I remember seeing the trailer, and I thought it was really obnoxious for the game. And I wasn't interested, and I was watching all the video game stuff. I went out of town. I may have told this story on here, but I'll make it quick. I went out of town with my family, and my neighbor who lives behind me, is my age, way back. He lived up a hill, like 20 feet up on the other tier in the back of my neighborhood. And we had a fence in the hill, and the big hill. And I got home from out of town at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and he texted me, and he's like, check your backyard. I'm like, what? And he goes, I got you Borderlands. It's in your yard. And what he would do is he would buy me a game, or I'd buy him a game, and he'd just flick it. It just like frisbee it down into my yard. It would just kind of float down and land in the grass, and I remember I got home, and our kids were little, and I was putting them to bed, and I went out in the backyard in the dark, and I pushed around in the grass, and there was Borderlands, and I was like, I picked it up. I'm like, man, he didn't have to do this. Like, I'm not interested in the game. And everybody went to bed, my wife included, and I popped the thing out, put it in my 360, and I started playing. And I think I went to bed at like 2 a.m, and I was so effed from Borderlands, Mag, that when I was laying in bed, I was doing this. I was vacuuming up money and ammo and gear, like in my mind. It was like it was there, and it's been over ever since. Borderlands. That's what.
So you guys passed each other video games like a prison, like in prison, and they tie like cigarettes on strings, and then they throw it down to the next cell. They throw it to the next cell. They're like, here, pass this down to C block 5.
Yep. Yeah, that's what we did.
Colteastwood gets his video games, folks.
He totally got me. He totally got me, man. We played that thing online together, and it's all I talked about. And I played it with my work buddies, and it just ruined.
You know, a game is good. A game is good when you dream about it, and that's funny because like even with Star Wars Outlaws, because I'm like, okay, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this. Okay, I finished the game, but I got to go do a favor for Jabba. I got to do this, I got to do that, and then I go to bed, and then I'm literally thinking about the side quest that I have to do in order to complete this to get a new turret for my ship or whatever. And then once it invades your dreams, you know that the game is good. You're like, oh, okay, this game's got me by, but anyways, it got its grips in me, right? So I didn't want to say it, so I didn't want to, but either way, it's got its grips on me, and I'm like, okay, you win, Star Wars Outlaws, you won. But either way, yeah, that's the same thing with Borderlands, man. Once you get into Borderlands, it just invades your soul. And then you'd be in bed thinking about it, and you'd be like, oh, man, tomorrow we got to go invade that little village by the mountain, and we got to do this, and we got to do that. And then it gets in your head, and you're like, oh, man, I need to stop playing this game. But either way.
Then you wake up, and Randy Pitchford's like, psst, I put a thumb drive in your backyard. And you're like, oh, all right. Let's talk about South of Midnight. I feel there's
let's talk about South of Midnight.
There's some slight controversy, and I scored it lower than most, but when I compare it against most games that I like-ish, I like South of Midnight, but there's so many glaring things that it's missing. I'm like, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you kind of do a little bit more in the gameplay department? You have a really great vibe. The game looks amazing, but it does something really great in the first 10th of the game, and then it repeats it like 7 times. You do this loop of walking around, searching, small combat arenas, like 3 small combat arenas, talk to a character, run away from a ghost that's chasing you, and then you might fight a boss. And it just does that over and over, that exact same loop. The ingredients never change. And after 3 chapters out of 14, it feels like, why didn't you do anything else to this game? You had such a great thing. I gave it a 6.9 out of 10 or a 69 out of 100. All right. But, what are you hearing about it? Because you haven't had time to play it yet.
No, I did. No. I still have to make the video. But the game is played.
Finished?
7.5. Yeah. No, not quite. 7.5. Okay. But here's my thoughts. My thoughts are this: you're right about the repetitiveness, but I can't find fault in the game where I don't see. Like, there's nothing, like, for me, there's nothing glaringly obvious of like, oh, this mechanic is broken, or the combat doesn't work, or the traversal is really clunky. Like, it's none of those things. So, like, on a fundamental mechanical level, there's nothing wrong with the game. I think what's wrong with it is that it just doesn't hold my attention enough. It starts off like, I mean, you've got all these, the what the hell is it called? Like the little movie clips and whatever else. And you got the cutscenes and everything happening. You're like, all right, I get it. I understand what's happening here. Yeah. And then you get into it and you're like, ooh, I like this. You know, you got a thunderstorm going on. You've got like the hurricane happening and all that. We're not going to get into too many details because let's not forget the game officially doesn't launch till tomorrow.
Yeah, I had like 25 or 30 minutes of gameplay and I thought it's just, I don't know, it just wouldn't work for you guys to watch it because then
because the only people who played it
level yourself. Yeah.
Right. And the thing is, the people who played it are either reviewers, YouTubers, or you paid the 5-day early access. The rest of the population, which still counts for about 95% of people who are going to play it, are not even going to get a chance to play it till tomorrow. So I'm trying to keep it as vague as possible. So I'm going to be kind of like stumbling around here, trying to figure out what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, we won't talk about way. We won't talk about any bosses because the only one you saw was the Croc, and I just think Meg and I know that you just need to see these levels for yourself because it's one of the big joys if the gameplay doesn't really deliver on it. But so far, so good. I like what you're saying.
Yeah, so atmosphere-wise, music, graphics are great. Some people complaining about the stop-motion stuff, that is literally just during... You could turn it off if anybody didn't know this before. You could turn it off during the gameplay, and it's not really there, and it's not really prevalent during the cutscenes. It kind of is, but it's not really that big of a deal. I'm not
it's half
watching
frame rate in the cutscenes, but it looks cool. It's not going to bother you. It
still looks cool. Like it's not irritating like... what the hell's that movie? Into the Spider-Verse, I found to be a little bit irritating, especially the second one. I was like, I'm done with this movie. I'm done with this series. I'm not even going back to watch the third one. The second one was just garbage. And but the first one was amazing. But it was just too janky, whatever. This is not that, right? So I think, people could drop that. The music, I loved the music. Yeah. The music is what makes the game because the music is what makes the South. When you get into like the culture and everything else, it's all about the music. If you go to New Orleans, you go to all these different places in the South, which I've been to, outside of New Orleans, all over the South. And I did like a travel, and I did like a big U through the United States, and then eventually made my way across. I did a big U, and then I kind of made my way. I went down the west side, and then I went through the central part. I went through Georgia and everything else, and I went through the South, and then I eventually ended up in Florida, and then I went up to the East Coast.
I mean, come on, bro.
We might have driven through it. I don't even remember. But we drove. We drove. And it was wild, man. But anyways, we got to experience a lot of cool stuff. But what is part of the Southern culture? A lot of it. It doesn't matter what it is. You could be Cajun. You could be white. You could be black. You could be whatever. It's the music, right? The music and the food. The music and the food are the two big things that that bring the cultures together, whatever, right? And you can experience that a lot in the South. And in this game, you feel that vibe is there, right? You've got that sort of Cajun sort of vibe going on. You've got sort of the Southern, the Southern black culture going on. The music definitely adds to it right there. And then of course you have all the cool stuff happening. I know it's all sort of a metaphor, with like the hurricane and all that kind of stuff. Again, I can't really get into it because I don't want to, let people play it and experience it. Yeah. But it's very, very cool. But again, Colt is nailed it on the head when he was like saying that the thing is when you get to the mechanics, they're not broken on a mechanical level, but they become like, oh, I'm doing this again. Like I don't mind doing it once, but if I have to do it 4 times in a row or 5 times, and you're like, oh, we're doing this now, and it gets, you know what I mean? It gets boring. So what I think that they could have done is they narrowed it down to 2 things: traversal and combat, and then kept the way you explore the levels more interesting in a way that it makes you feel like you've done the exploration, a la Uncharted style or Tomb Raider or that kind of thing, because it kind of had that vibe there, right? It actually had more traversal than I actually expected, but the traversal was actually good. But the thing is, if you make it feel like each level that you're going through, I'm really struggling here to try and get this all out. You want to feel like you're doing the exploration. Like, I found this. I'm moving in this direction, where it almost feels like it's like, okay, well, now we're doing this now. Okay, now we're doing this now. And they're just pushing you in that direction. I'm like, I'm just on rails here. And that's what it kind of felt like, a little too linear. Yes, linear.
The way they explain it is, good word. The level goes like this, and then you get to the end. But along the way, there's little right and lefts you can do, but they don't go very far. Like you walk out like for 20 seconds, find something and make your way back to the main path and keep doing this. Then you go to the left a little bit and come right back. That's pretty much how it feels. But when you play the game, those of you who are looking to try it out tomorrow night or whatever, or tomorrow morning, when you play it, you're going to understand that, like what we're saying, that there's some obvious things they could have done to make it a little more. And I saw someone in the chat said, not every game is going to be a grand slam. And no, and I knew that compulsion was the wild card, the negative wild card. Like all of Xbox's studios are tried and true. They're all really great. And they are due to either have a massive flop or a really major big hit. And for the most part, the studios have done pretty well this generation. But compulsion was that wild card, and they just left out some stuff. But you know what? That said, people say, that being said, at the end of the day, it is what it is, and other assorted things. That being said, I'm glad I played South of Midnight. When I finished it, I'm glad I played it. Hazel Flood's an amazing, cool character. The backdrop is awesome. The backdrop changes, and the vibe is great. Just need a little more.
Yeah.
It's not a bad game
whatsoever. I see some people in the chat there. By the way, Dizzy Delta, you're absolutely right, dude. He says that he's tired of these early access things. You know what? I talked about this actually last week on another channel. I was a guest on a show, and I was talking about it, and I said, the reason why they keep doing this is because they're supposed to be, in order to cover the way the cost of these games should be, which we're gonna get into later, by the way, should be somewhere around $90 to $100 anyway, because of these ballooning developer salaries. And don't let anybody else fool you. It's not the production, it's the salaries that are ballooning out of control, and that's what makes the budgets go out of control. These games should be in order to match those, they want to be charging $90 to $100, and they're getting their $90 to $100 one way or another. How? They're getting all the FOMO people by saying, hey, it's a $70 game, but for $100, I'll give it to you 5 days early. And that's what's happening. And that's what they keep doing. And therefore, one way or another, just like a casino that always gets your money at the end of the day, you know what I mean? It's the same thing. The developers are going to get their $100 one way or another. Why do you think they created DLCs? Why do you think, which to me, 9 times out of 10 is just content cut out from the original game. They do it on purpose. The skins, the fast travels, I don't want to call it cheating. I want to say like the leveling up. Oh, you want to, for $5.99, you could level up to level 30 and get all this cool stuff and this and that. They didn't, you know what I mean? And so they do all that. They do that. So Dizzy Delta, you're not wrong, and that's why they're doing it.
Yeah,
because they want to be charging 90 to 100, and we're going to get into that later. We know why, and that's how they're getting it. So they're getting it in a roundabout way by not actually charging you that money, but they're getting it around. So like South of Midnight, same thing. They're like, all right, well, you're in Game Pass. Well, you're paying for your Game Pass subscription anyway, and then they're like,
what's $10
for an extra? Yeah, they're like, for an extra $10 or $20. You can have the game early, and so they'll get that extra money out of you. So they just squeezed almost a month and a half of Game Pass out of you for that one game instead of just the 1 month, right? And so they got that extra $10, and that's how they do it. Up here in Canada is like 25, by the way, for the early access, right?
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? So one way or another, they get it.
I think you and I are big supporters of, if you want to charge for early access and people want to pay it, let it kind of boost the studio and their profit, I guess. I don't mind. There's some games where I'm like, no, I'm not buying early access. And there's some like, dang, I think I want to.
Yeah, like, I mean, the last one I did, which I don't do often, the last one I did was, I'm not kidding, I think it was Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Because I'm such a monster. It's been a while. That's the last time I bought early access. Other than that, I don't want it. I mean, unless they give it to me, like, it's like, hey, do you want to review this? Or if I'm doing some work for Ubisoft or something, that's different. But like to actually pay for early access, I paid for early access of Shadow of the Tomb Raider because I'm such a Tomb Raider fan. Mm-hmm. And it's like my second favorite franchise of all time. I will pay the extra. They'll get me there. The only other one that'll get me is Resident Evil.
Oh, yeah.
Resident Evil will get me every time because that's my number one. That's my favorite series of all time. And there's no way I couldn't. They could be like, hey, Mac, do you want a sexy skin for Ada Wong? I'm like, yes, I do, sir. And they're like, do you want to pay $200 for Resident Evil 9? I'll be like, yes, I do, sir. And I'm like, Are you a fraud and you're going to ruin the games industry by supporting $200 games? Yes, I am. I'm going to ruin the game industry for Resident Evil. I will do whatever Resident Evil said. They are literally like my dominatrix. There's nothing I could do. Yes, hurt me more, Resident Evil. Do whatever. Yeah. Put your high heels in my back. I don't care. I'll pay it. Unfortunately, GTA 6 is going to do the same thing to us, by the way, just so everybody's aware.
Yeah, we might need to talk about that one later when we get into the price of games. I think we will. My good friend Infinite Umbra says, I'm at the end of chapter 12 of South of Midnight and really loving it. It gets better the further you get into it. Don't over-focus on combat, but look into the lore, character story, and soundtrack, in my opinion. Those things he said, the lore and characters and soundtrack and story are really great in South of Midnight. And I didn't over-focus on the combat. For most of the game, I didn't mind the combat. I just felt like it'd be cool if I had more powers than swipe, tug, and smash and like blast. And that's pretty much what it feels like you have. And there's more that I won't spoil. But
hold on a second. I want to. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
You don't. For when I played the game to 9 to 12 hours, you don't get enough of the evolution of Hazel's powers, and I only unlocked 18 out of the 24 powers because I thought I looked everywhere, but apparently I missed stuff. But what were you gonna
say? There's some people in the chat earlier on that said they were talking about like the being linear and stuff like that as a negative. No, we're not saying it's negative. I'm not saying it's negative. I actually enjoy linear games, just like for example, I'm playing as I was saying, I'm playing Split Fiction with my son. And that's a very linear game, challenging, but extremely linear. It's just A to B. There's no going off the reservation. There's no, you know what I mean?
Lots of A to B. Yeah.
It's just A to B. But the thing is, yeah, sure, there's a side quest, but it's right there. Like you could see it right off the path. Like it's like, oh, there's the side quest. And so you just walk over and do the side quest. I enjoy that. That's not the issue. The issue is you feel like you're being shoved into specific directions. Or like, okay, we're doing this thing now. And you're like, I don't want to do that thing. I want to just get from A to B the way I want to get from A to B or whatever. And it feels like it's kind of holding your hand a little bit too much with some things that it felt sort of, okay, like I get it. Like I said, I didn't find anything fundamentally wrong with the game at all. I just found that after a little while, I'm like, all right, I've seen this before. Or I've seen this little gag that we're doing, or this little gimmick that we're doing, or, the whatever. It just feels like we're moving in that direction, but it just feels like we're being shoved in that direction, and you're being forced to do this mechanic now. Oh, now you have to do this thing again. And I'm like, and like I said, I'm trying to be as vague as possible, but like when you do that, it's just, that's what I didn't like. It's not the linear. I mean, there's so many games that are linear that are absolutely amazing. Crash Bandicoot, Gears of War, all these other games, Call of Duty. When you're playing a Call of Duty campaign, where are you going? You know what I mean? It's not open world. It's you're going from A to B. Follow the captain and you run off into battle, do your thing, and then that's it.
Feels like movie scenes, and
they're fantastic.
And when I think about
yep.
When I think about my 69 out of 100, I personally step back and I go, oh, is that a little low? I'm like, I don't want to adjust it just to try to feel like it should be in the barometer of where other people might be. I don't do that. But my problem with my review process that my friends don't like is I score 1 out of 10 on story, 1 out of 10 on presentation or graphics, 1 out of 10 on gameplay, and then 1 out of 10 on replayability. And replayability comes into like, would you like that so much you'd play it again, or does it have a multiplayer component that makes you want to continue to play it? And maybe using those 4 categories is a flawed way of me numbering a game, but then, most reviewers just look at a game and go, okay, I'm done. Feels like a 72 to me. So it's all arbitrary, but
it is. It means nothing. Yeah. You know what I told people on Friday when I was talking? I was on Wasted with Wise, and I was on his show on Friday doing a little guest spot, and I said, and there were a couple of guys arguing back and forth about the game, and I said, stop for 1 second. I said, did you enjoy yourself? He said, yes. I said, did you have fun? He said, yes. I go, then that's all that matters. What do you care what he thinks? Or what does he care what you think? Did you have fun and enjoy it? Yes. Okay, then who cares? And if he didn't like the experience, then who cares? Let him not enjoy it. That's fine. That's what opinions are all about.
Meg,
you know what I'm saying? Like, is that weird?
Magnum, bro. Magnum. He said that's a stupid way of scoring a game. One of the best video game sites that ever existed was called Game Trailers. And that's how I got that. They broke down those 4 categories. Actually, I had a 5th category. I don't remember what it was. But they would break those down, and at the end of the video of the game review, they would show they gave the story 7, they gave gameplay 8, they gave this one whatever, and then they went boom, 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 and then they gave you a full score, and you're like, that's the best way to review a game. Now, I don't know if it's inherently flawed because it could be flawed because if you don't care about story, that if you just want a game that feels good when you play it, if a game has a 6 out of 10 in story, but the gameplay's a 9, you're like, I'm in. But if it's vice versa, like you really want the experience and the story and the gameplay can be just okay and it gets a 7, but the story's a 9, then that's a good recommendation. So I think my category, the problem is in my review videos, I don't break down each one of those. Other than everything that I say about it, you'll hear me say, the gameplay is lacking, but the story's great. So if you're watching my video and you're like, I love the vibe, I love story, and Colt really likes that, but he doesn't care for the gameplay doesn't matter to me. Then you can go off the game off my recommendation, whether the score lands where you want or not. But I do the best I can with the review. Someone else in the chat says, a lot of people are comparing South of Midnight to Kena Bridge of Spirits, a kind of quasi-exclusive that launched on the PlayStation in 2021. And I played part of that game. Here's the funny thing, Mag. Kena Bridge of Spirits is sitting in an 81. It is about 3 points higher than South of Midnight. And I believe from what I played of Kena Bridge of Spirits, like 20 hours, the gameplay is better in Kena, but I didn't finish Kena. I finished South of Midnight. So the 81 doesn't do me any good.
I found Kena to be, it had wonderful graphics, incredible graphics, and the gameplay was good. Like the actual gameplay was good, smooth, intuitive controls, all that kind of stuff. But I found it to be so convoluted and redundant to the point where I'm like, I didn't even know where to go. It wouldn't even show you like where to go, like your next thing. And it just kind of gave you like a vague reference on a map. And I had to go exploring to find it. And I'm like, that's fine. Because I also like open world games. But there was a lot of times I was just struggling for like literally an hour just to find where to go to continue the quest. And it was so annoying that after a while, I'm just like, I'm done with this, man. So like on that mechanic, the game failed for me, right? And I don't think, for me, South of Midnight is not Kena Bridge of Spirits. I don't even think it's even a spiritual successor, no pun intended. It really is not. I don't think so. And I don't feel like it was the same kind of game. Not at all. Not even remotely close. I found South of Midnight to be more of an experience than that, because I think Kena Bridge of Spirits was more like, first of all, Kena Bridge of Spirits, the traversal was garbage. Like the climbing and the, you know what I mean, and the shimmying on ledges and jumping from here. I didn't think it was very good at all. I think South of Midnight did a way better job of that. But
I mean, they're not that far off in score is the point. They're not that far.
Oh yeah. And score wise.
Also, Helldivers Helldivers 2 is one of the most beloved games, and it is literally 5 points out of 100, 5% higher than South of Midnight. And a lot of people are like, oh, mid, and we always talk about this, right? That 78 to 84 is now considered mid. Like, I guess Helldivers 2 is mid too. And I see people in the chat, because you and I have to say it every week. What do we say, Mag? Don't just go off a review score. What do you do?
Yeah, you either experience it yourself, or you watch YouTubers, or you talk to people who have the same interest as you, and you say, hey man, if you know a friend who has the same game taste as you do, and you'd be like, dude, did you try that? Yeah, I played that game. Well, do you think I'll like it, or how did you like it? And if they like it, 9 times or 10 times, like for example, like
sure,
like Mr. Boomstick is Boom is a dear friend of mine. We talk on the phone and stuff like that, whatever. The Toronto New York connection. So we talk here and there once in a while, but him and I have almost the identical game taste in games. So if he tells me, and he might message me once in a while, I'll be like, dude, you got to be playing this game. 10 times out of 10, not even 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, I'm going to know I love that game, because him and I have the exact same taste in games.
There you go.
And so like we will bounce off each other like that. So I trust him intrinsically with a 1 sentence review that he gives me about a game that he just played or whatever. He's like, oh, dude, did you try this? But
he really likes South of Midnight though. He really likes
more than I do, which is funny. So out of the three of us, you had the lowest score, I had the second, and then he has the highest.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. It was like a 1, 2, 3 between the three of us. There is some interesting things though. Like if you look at some of these games you're talking about, I'm not going to get deep into this because it's going to get philosophical. But when you talk about what grabs you in a video game, like you look at, like, for example, I played Stellar Blade last year, one of my favorite games of 2024. The story was garbage. I don't even know what the hell happened. I don't even know what was it about. I was like, where am I? What am I doing on this planet? Why are you wearing a thong? You know what I mean? Like with a sword.
These are questions that must be answered.
I wasn't complaining. I wasn't complaining, but it didn't make sense in combat. But either way, the game itself, though, was so good, and the gameplay and the combat, and
so that's like a 9 gameplay, but like a 6 or 7 in story. But you'd still recommend it.
Well, exactly. So like gameplay, I would give, like, the actual gameplay, I give it like a 9.5. Most of the time, I didn't even have the sound turned on. I would just be listening to a podcast in the background.
If you don't care about the story or the characters, what do you score that game overall then?
I would give it an 8.5. Okay. Because I would balance it between a bad story and fantastic gameplay, right? And then, kind of come in the middle, about an 8.5, somewhere around there. Another one.
Like Vanquish. Vanquish. The story
Vanquish,
was awful. Yes. The characters were awful, stupid. They were so dumb and annoying.
Yeah.
But the gameplay was so fun. I couldn't stop. It's like
couldn't stop playing it. Vanquish is a fantastic game. I love that game.
I don't know why people always act like a game review is like someone writes a game review and they could put it in a tweet or they could write a whole thing or produce a whole video and they're like, I don't agree. Right. It's like, well, okay, but
that's fine. Don't agree
to you. It's just one resource. Let me move
Days
on.
Gone, another one. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say
Days Gone.
Wonderful story.
I said Gaze Dawn.
Wow.
Gaze Dawn would be an amazing game. I'm there day one for Gaze Dawn.
Yeah, well,
it's a homosexual Italian, mafia guy. Gaze Dawn sounds awesome. Let's
the Ballad of Gay Tony. Listen, the Days Gone. The story was magnificent. It was a heartfelt story. It was great or whatever. The gameplay, it was okay. It was mid. It was mid gameplay,
I liked
but
the
story kept me engaged.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of, it's kind of cool. You get a spiked bat and you smash like a zombie in the head with it, and it was wonderful, whatever. Yeah. But like, I thought it was like not as good as the story. So for me, what kept me engaged in that game was more the story because I wanted to know what happened next. And so it captured that. Then you have the rare gems, which are just a magic marriage of both, where you have fantastic gameplay and great storytelling. Resident Evil. Like they just nail both almost every time outside of number 6. They just nail it every time of just a perfect marriage of gameplay and story. And you're like, this is impossible to not love. But that's just me. Anyways, let's move on, buddy.
I got to write in the chat, Gaze Dawn, because I got to trademark that. That's going to be an awesome Gaze Dawn. And if Red Wolf gets a chance to listen to this on playback, I know that he's going. When people mess up when they word flub or flip flop the first letters, like he doesn't ever let you see the end of it. We got a question here from Justin Howard, a $5 super chat. It says, hey guys, does Mag know when Gears E-Day is releasing? Late 2025, early 2026, or November 2026? Gears E-Day, is it late 2025 or 26? Gears 20th anniversary. Love the show. Thank you so much, Dustin. We appreciate you. This is a dicey one. How you feeling about what's going on?
Listen, we're still here. I mean, I'm still hearing. I don't know if you're still hearing the same thing. I'm still hearing it's slated for 25.
Oh, there's Red Wolf. Yes. I have also. Well, I'm not hearing. I don't have any insider track. I just keep hearing the insiders kind of double down on it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just hearing. Like, I keep asking about it because. Even in my video that I did, 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago, I did a video about Gears of War E-Day being somewhat on an insider level confirmed for 2025. I still, even in the video, I'm like, guys, just so you know, I don't even 100% believe it. I'm just telling you, it just doesn't make much sense to shove it in there, kind of like Fable, which I was right about, but that's a different story. But
I'm mad that you're right about that. I'm so mad.
I'm so happy I'm right about that. Oh, I'm so happy about that. I literally like lay in bed smiling going, Mag was right. I'm just kidding. I don't do that. But anyways, in all seriousness, I'm still hearing that it's 2025, and I'm still hearing that the Gears collection is still also coming out this year. So I'm like, that's a lot of Gears for 1 year when you still got a new Call of Duty coming. From the Xbox side, you got new Call of Duty coming, an Outer Worlds 2 coming, and of course, for everybody, well, I mean, not everybody, but for Xbox and PlayStation, we've got GTA 6. That's a lot of meaty games for the fall. And we're not even including on the PlayStation side, you got Ghost of Yotei, which is going to be a monster game as well this year, right? That's a big first-party game. So to shove a Gears of War in there is really tough. But hey, weirder things have happened, and until I hear otherwise, I'm still hearing 2025. If I hear a change in strategy, if I hear a change in strategy, then I'll report it.
Paris is in the chat. What? Shout out to Paris. Paris says,
"Don't believe all the Gears of War.
Don't believe all the Gears of War rumors you are hearing." I was going to say that. What if? I don't know if you guys got a chance to look at my thumbnail. What if the Gears of War Marcus Phoenix collection rumor was really just Gears Ultimate, which is Gears 1 remastered?
I heard about that too.
What if Gears Ultimate was all this smoke was really, once you got all the smoke and flames, that really what it came down to is Gears Ultimate was just coming to Nintendo Switch and PS5. They're giving everyone access to the first game because it's on Xbox and PC, which would be good. It would be a good thing to say, hey, here's Gears 1 to introduce Nintendo Switch 2 and PlayStation 5 players to one of the greatest third-person action-adventure games ever, and still is. Gears is one of the best ones ever. It's one of the best third-person shooters. So, clip that. Paris says, don't believe all the rumors you're hearing.
Well,
Tom Warren has doubled down. Oh, crap, I forgot. I think it was Tom. Yeah, Tom Warren has doubled down a couple times, not fairly recently, about Gears E-Day being slated for 2025, but I'm with Paris. Don't believe everything you're hearing. I'm more apt, like Mag, to believe that's actually probably a 2026 thing. But
even I said, I don't know who else I have to tell here. There's some guy here. I don't know what his name is. I can't remember. I lost him in the chat. And anyways, I'm like, dude, obviously your listening comprehension is poor. We didn't say we believe it. We just say we heard it.
Yeah.
If you hear that an elephant is pink, you don't have to believe that the elephant is pink, for Christ's sake. What's the matter with you people? Only a Sith deals in absolutes. Obi-Wan Kenobi, 2005. So, anyways,
only
the thing
Sith
is also
and old Mag before
plans change. It's funny, actually. Boom and I were talking about that on the phone, and we were laughing about it because, people are so psychotic for whatever reason in this business. We talk, but we were talking about something else, right? And we were laughing about how people freak out. It was like, when plans change, like they make plans, they're like, okay, listen, we're doing this. And then all of a sudden a month later, like, you know what, guys, it's not going to work out the same way, whatever. We're going to have to reconvene. Let's move it to this and that. Things change. It's just like when you go to work and you have a project you're working on or whatever you're doing at work. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to release it April 13th. And then all of a sudden you get together with management and they're like, listen, guys, it's not going to work out. We're going to have to push it a couple of weeks. Let's push it a couple of weeks, move it to April 29th or something like that. So when that happens in the game industry, and then let's say we report something on that, say, hey, listen, this is coming out on April 13th. And then all of a sudden, let's say whether it's Microsoft or PlayStation or whoever, Nintendo, they go, oh yeah, it's actually not coming out on the 13th. Then these people come out, they're like, liar, you liar. I'm going to blow up your Tesla. And I'm like, what is the matter with you? Yeah. And I'm like, what is the matter with you? Plans like evolve and change over time, right? We're just reporting like initial findings. It's just like when they say, Fable's coming out in 25. And I'm like, well, it might not. And then it didn't. And then did people freak out and call everybody a liar because it came out in 2026? It's coming out in 26 instead of 25. Or I'm even going to defend the guy. Even when Phil Spencer says something, he's like, yeah, listen, we're doing this. That was the strategy for that day. Or that time. And then 6 months later, they're like, well, guys, we're going to change the strategy and we're evolving or whatever. We're going to evolve the strategy to this, that, and whatever. And now we're going in this direction. And then they call him a liar. I'm like, he's not. Oh, my God, you guys are so stupid. Thank God you're not in a position of authority. It's like, he's not a liar. Just things evolve and change, man. Like, it's, you know what I mean? It's like, that's not how it works. But anyways, whatever. Let people be idiots.
Malik says, YouTubers focus on negative people too much. It's because...
That is true, too, because negativity sells.
and negativity is easy to spot, but also YouTubers typically have on a mathematical scale 100 to 1,000 times more people reacting to them than a person who isn't on YouTube and has like some sort of audience. But I think I complained last week about how someone was trying to call me out about how I lied about getting a text from Aaron Greenberg. Did I say that last week? That's there was
no, you didn't say anything about it.
So there's some like Twitter user, and nobody cares about Twitter, but there's a Twitter user that's like a blue Urkel, and Delusional Takes, a major account on Twitter, absolutely decimated.
I know that guy.
Of course you do. Yeah, he called me. I was like, remember that time when Colt said he got a text from Aaron Greenberg saying that Xbox wasn't going to go third party, and then they did. It was like, yeah, I mean, how many times we covered it? It wasn't Aaron Greenberg. It wasn't. And then what was it? Like 2 weeks later was the Xbox business update, and feels like it's not a signal what's to come. We're not putting all of our games everywhere. And that was the deal. It was just like, it was one of those, tonight's the night, and then that night I have a headache. It's just kind of like, that's how it goes. But
right, that's how it goes. But like, you know what? I've given up on caring what like there's toxic people out there or whatever else. I used to engage, and I was just like, I'd get in there and be like, what's your whatever. And I just like, I don't care what you know. What
someone told me?
If you're just gonna be that way, that's cool, man. You want to be miserable in life? It's fine. I'll give you my wife's train schedule. You can go stand in front of it. Like, do whatever you want to do. I don't care. You know what I'm saying?
Game Seeker,
go ahead.
A friend of mine, a supporter of the show, Game Seeker, shared out my Microsoft Rewards video. It's a 5-minute video, shows you how to get Game Pass Ultimate for free every month by clicking stuff, right? He says, hey, check out this video from Colteastwood to learn how to save money and get free games. And this guy replied back, I wish Colt would learn how to tie a noose. And I'm like,
how do you know Colteastwood doesn't know how to tie a noose?
I mean, I'm wearing one right now. But yeah,
he doesn't have to wear one.
Yeah,
he puts it on his Halloween decorations every Halloween.
People are obnoxious. One last question about Gears, thanks to Dustin Howard Super, is
sure.
Let's pretend it's just Gears Ultimate getting a port. Is it just the regular like DX9 or whatever it is port in Unreal Engine 4 or 3, or do you think it's like, you think there's some levity behind the Unreal Engine 5 remaster? Unreal Engine
5, yes.
For just Gears 1, do you think that's possible?
Oh, for just Gears 1?
Yeah.
That's not what I heard, and that's not what I mean, Paris
it doesn't make any sense, right? Like, okay, I'm going to say this. I don't know what Mag's stance is, but my stance is
him next to the Microsoft building, for crying out loud. So he's there, but I mean, we're talking to people who are also there, and that's not what we're hearing. I haven't heard anything for about a month now. Sorry, go ahead.
I'll start with my opinion, because I haven't heard anything concrete from anybody that I could say, hey, this is what I think is going to happen. But this is my opinion. You don't just port Gears 1 to PlayStation and Switch when PC doesn't have, Xbox's other major platform doesn't have access to 2 and 3 or Judgment, or at least 2 and 3. So I think where there's smoke, there's fire. If there is some Gears 1 Ultimate port for PlayStation 5, maybe what the Coalition and their partners who are working on, I think People Can Fly was the rumor. No, that's not true, because they're helping with Gears E-Day. No, whatever's happening. I'm sorry. I'm trying to cut to the chase. If there's a Gears 1 port coming to PlayStation and Switch 2, that probably means that they're going to put that out, and then the next year they're going to work on 2 and then 3, and they're just going to kind of feed this out while they release Gears E-Day next year and then work on the next whatever Gears thing is. That's what I think makes more sense. It doesn't make sense to say, no, it's just Gears Ultimate. Now we want it everywhere, and the rest of the series after yourself. What's your take, Mag?
Listen, I keep hearing it from extremely credible sources, more than one, is that we're getting a Gears collection in Unreal Engine 5. It does not contain the co-op. It contains only co-op, no multiplayer. It has single player and co-op and no multiplayer, so that you can play through the stories, get caught up on the series, and then dovetail into E-Day. Brothers Grimm, I do smell fantastic, just so you know. I wear dragon fruit body spray. Oh, it's fantastic. Oh, I smell like a bouquet. It's wonderful. Anyways, in all seriousness, sorry, he says I think Mag smells nice, like Hugo Boss or something. Anyway, That's what I've been told, and it's not one person. It's this is several people, and these are several high-ranking people. Maybe what Paris is talking about is maybe the release dates.
Maybe
he's not going to say. Listen, he's not going to say. He's not going to say in the chat. He's not going to say, "Oh, actually, I meant this and that and the other." He's not going to get in trouble. The guy was just there. You know what I mean? If he goes out and starts blabbing his mouth about something, the next time he walks in the Microsoft building, they're going to be standing there going, "Dude, do you you got something you want to tell us, bro? What
you doing?"
And he'd be like, "What? What happened? What happened?" We're like, "We watched XNC. We heard what you said."
That takes.
And then Phil standing there with a billy club. Just like menacingly tapping it on his hand. Sorry, carry on.
Mag takes us to our next short piece of topic. Check out my shirt. Hold on, let me go to the live feed so I can make sure I have this right.
Ooh.
Yes. Bow to me.
Marathon.
No, I'm wearing the marathon shirt.
Yes.
I don't have anything else in here. I was going to set it up, but this is not a marathon abode here. But I signed this NDA for Marathon in the end of February, and I thought I was going to be playing the game. Like, I thought playtesting was coming soon, and they sent me this goodie box of a T-shirt, a little plushie of a caterpillar for some reason, just a couple little things in a hat, which is cool, really cool, and a card that I don't know what to do with this metal card. It's like the one that what's it called? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name. F it, I can't remember. What's the movie with Denzel Washington where he kills everyone? The
Equalizer.
Equalizer. Yeah, he takes that credit card. And he's like, and he cuts the guy's neck open.
I was about to say that was the scene where the guys who assaulted the girl and the corporate douchebag guys assaulted the girl in the and he was like the Uber driver for like the girl. Yeah. That was dope.
So cool. That was a tangent we didn't need, but we're gonna enjoy it anyway.
It's okay.
Sounds like Marathon is probably going to get announced really soon. Jeff Grubb said that there is a reveal coming up on April 12th, I think, which is in a few days. And he would not be surprised if some sort of closed beta or open beta or something launches soon. Sounds like the launch of Marathon is really, really close. PlayStation's third party. I don't know what to tell you. This is Bungie's game. It's coming to everything. It's on Xbox, PC. It's on PlayStation. Yeah, I'm not super excited about it. It's an extraction 3-player team shooter. I'm sure it's going to look amazing and feel incredible. I can't wait to try it out. How are you feeling about Marathon, Mag?
You know, the funny thing is about Marathon is that I don't know enough about it to actually be excited or unexcited about it. I need to see a lot more, and I need a proper reveal, do a big showcase or whatever. Give me a special event. Give me 5 minutes. Give me 5 solid minutes of new footage, gameplay. Like show me what's happening, what exactly I'm doing, how I'm doing it, why I should be excited about this game. You know, its accessibility. Is it free to play? Is it going to be full price? Is it going to be a $70 game? Is it going to be what is this? What is this, Colteastwood? And I can't get excited for something that I know nothing about.
I'm gonna predict. I'm just gonna guess that it's a $70 game. I've never thought about it till you said it. What is your prediction?
We don't know. We don't know because look what happened.
But what's Concord. Mag's best guess? Mag can be wrong.
Look what happened
sometimes.
with Concord. They spent. Mag is never wrong. Ask my wife.
What?
Ask my
wife.
You
said you don't deal in absolutes. You lying Sith Lord, you.
Yeah, dude.
Achievement unlocked. Colt finally won an argument against Mag. It lasted about 2 seconds.
That's lies. Fraudulent. Anyways, in all seriousness, here's the thing. Look what happened with the Concord situation. I know it didn't, like, everybody's like, oh, it's gonna sink Sony. No, it's not. But it didn't do. I mean, it hurt them. But that's something that they made them cautious about what they're releasing in the future when it comes to games as a service and this kind of that and whatever. So now they got to look at this situation. They're like, all right, what are we doing here? Because if this is just a 3-person shooter extraction game or whatever else, this is not a Halo game. You know what I mean? This is not a Destiny game where you've got these huge levels, open worlds, this and that, all this lore. if this is just a 3-person extraction game, it's basically just kind of like we're just going to play it for like an hour and then just fart around with it with our friends and then move on to something else.
Rainbow Six Extraction, I don't think lasted. It was...
You know what I'm saying?
Sotness might be right. I'm taking back my prediction.
What is he saying? What is he saying?
It's going to be free on PlayStation, $80 on Xbox. No, I'm going to totally be a fraud. I'm going to be a fraud and say, I mean, you totally got me. So now the scoreboard, 90 for Mag, 1 for Colt. I can't imagine them selling this game because of what happened with Concord.
How could you sell this game for $70? So now I'm giving you 2 reasons. I'm giving you 2 reasons. One is that you're looking at the Concord situation, right? So they're gonna be a little bit weak in the knees, maybe maybe have some cold feet about the whole situation, especially after that. And then the second reason is it's a 3-person extraction shooter, a 3-person team extraction shooter. That's not something you could charge $70 for. That's something that you fart around with your friends for half an hour for an hour each day, or maybe every couple of days, and you just kind of
you're in, you're out. There's $40 games that kind of land in there, but
oh yeah, right. Okay, maybe $40, maybe $40, but I can't see more than that. I can't see him charging a full price game for that, because if you're going to charge a $70 game, it's got to have multiplayer and then have an expansive not first person, but an expansive like single player or co-op experience that you have a story mode, you have all this stuff going on or whatever. But if it's only going to be that, well, then I don't think you could justify $70. Now, the other thing is we don't know what this is in its entirety. Like, we don't have all the details yet.
They didn't even send me any information about it. They sent me a link to a website that connects me to like their Discord, their like private Discord channel for content creators. There isn't much there to digest, so the reveal is going to tell all. We've seen no gameplay. It's got an incredible art style. It's hard for me to get excited.
It's hard for me to get, dude. It's like, okay, let's put it this way. It's like me coming to you and be like, bro, there's a movie coming out, man. And you're like, okay. It's got like a guy in it, man. And then there's like a situation with the guy. And it might have a gun or something, but I'm not sure. And you're like, okay, what's it called?
Women wear purple lipstick, bro. Purple.
What's it about?
Purple.
Purple what's lipstick. It about? I don't know. Who's in it? I have no idea. Okay, so what's it about? I have no idea. Okay,
it reminds me of
like, you know what I mean? Like it's like, are you excited? How can you get excited for something that you don't know? I'm literally telling you nothing right now. I'm telling you nonsense. And then it's the same thing with this game. I don't know anything about it. Yeah, sorry.
Frickin' A, I forgot it. I was so excited for it, and it really Brink. It reminds me of Brink. Brink had so much potential from Splash Damage, the team that came from Team Fortress 2, I think.
Okay,
Brink came out in the 360. Brink had this amazing art style. It was the resistance against security, really striking art style that some of it is a lot like something that Bungie would make. But Brink failed on almost everything. I don't know what's going to happen with Bungie and Marathon. I will tell you, my best prediction is that this game is going to look incredible. It is going to play like a dream. But Mag nails it when he says the extraction, like 3-person team games are like $40 to free to play, and they just don't stick around very long.
No, they don't stick around because... Yep.
I don't know. It could be a massive hit. I don't know.
If I were a betting man, and I am a betting man,
okay,
I would bet against this game. And I may be wrong, and that's why they call it gambling,
right? I don't want to bet against the game, though. No, I don't want to.
I don't want to either. I don't want games to fail because I like games to be successful and do well. I like people to have fun because that's why we're here. I'm just saying, if you gave me $100 chip and put a fail or success on the table. We're in Las Vegas. We're sitting there. I'm on my 17th Corona, and you're like, here, you got one bet. And I would put it on the fail. I'm just saying, if you gave me the choice, I don't say I want that, right? I'm just saying, if I were to put it on there, I can't see this succeeding. I don't know why. My gut tells me whatever the hell this is, my gut is telling me I'm not excited for it. And I'm not excited for what like, it just doesn't, there's nothing there. JV Smooth said it. He goes, we don't even know what it is.
And it has nothing to do with it being a Bungie game or, well, yeah, it does.
Oh,
it doesn't have anything to do with it being
nonsense.
a PlayStation first-party game. Like,
hell no, I love PlayStation first-party games.
I love a lot of their games. So I'm just going to ask the audience. You see a poll right now. Will Marathon fail? Yes or no?
I want to see it.
Like, Mag's right, and this is anonymous. So you get to click your vote. No one can see it. Mag and I are hanging our butts in the breeze to tell you. I'm with you, Mag. If I had to put down $100 chip, and I don't want to lose my money, I look at the odds of this game doing well in the market that we're currently in.
That's the thing. I just don't see. I don't see people gravitating towards it. That's all.
You know what? Like, Meg, I also wasn't really convinced that Helldivers 2 would have been even a big deal at all. I thought it just would have done its thing and kind of petered out, but it was incredibly successul. So
it had a shtick. It had a shtick to it. And I don't know how or why it. Like, I played Helldivers 2, and I played it for a couple of weeks. I might have put in like 20 hours. After about 20 hours, I was bored to tears.
Yeah, same.
I was bored to tears. I never picked up the game again. And funny enough, my wife ended up playing it for like 2 months after I was done. She had her own friends from work and stuff, and she was playing it. And I just never went back. I was just like, this is so boring. It's the same crap over and over. You drop on the planet, you go out there, you shoot some bugs, you throw a grenade in the hole, you move to the next one, shoot some bugs, throw the grenade in the hole, and that's it. And I'm like, is there nothing else to this? Like, that's the kind of game I could play for a weekend and it'd be like, all right, this is what we're doing. If we're doing 3-person extractions and it doesn't have intrinsically detailed gameplay or story or something woven into this, it's not going to hold people's attention. However, I will give it the benefit of the doubt of the fact that we just don't know all those details. My gut instinct just tells me that it's not going to do well. So that's all I'm saying. That's just what I'm saying. Yeah. So, like, when sometimes you listen to your gut, but it may have an incredible story tied into it. It might be like, holy crap, this is awesome, or whatever, or incredible production value, or we don't know what.
I don't have that. I don't think story will matter, but Bungie also gatekept some of the service games that PlayStation worked on, so maybe they know exactly what scratches the itch, and that might be what really launches Marathon. But for right now, you and I put our chip on that it might not survive. A funny chat in here. Xbox's King says, Cole, you should put up gameplay of Halo 4 versus Metroid Prime 4. They said they think that Halo 4 looks better. Absolutely. I would tell you Halo 4 looks better than Halo 5 and Halo Infinite.
Halo 4 looks amazing. Looking game.
Yeah.
It's a great game. Actually, it's one of my favorite in the series, to be quite honest. Halo, you want to get into the old ones, like Halo 3 was fantastic.
Except for the button
Halo
pushing.
2.
Cortana and you and Cortana push a button a bunch. It has the most varied gameplay outside of
great.
That. Yeah, it was good. Well, I don't want to get into that.
I can't think of a Halo I didn't like. I can't think of a Halo I don't like. I even liked 5. I thought 5 was fun.
5 too, yeah.
I enjoyed 5. I can't... Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I do too, bro. It was good looking at... Halo 5 had the same problem. You fought the warden over and over. I'm like, why don't you just make different enemies? Illuminati 85, thank you for the $2 super chat. Says Game Pass will see a surge when games hit 80 out of 100. Let's hold that. I'm going to get back. I'm going to reference that in a moment, but I agree. Jay Foley, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Says, hey guys, I want to buy a handheld with Asus teasing a handheld with Xbox. I'm curious, you guys think Asus's Xbox handheld would be more powerful than the Ally X? I need to decide to buy now or to wait. I would wait to see.
That's
what
a cold question. Yeah.
What, Meg? How are you feeling about this? I covered this in my weekly video. What do you think?
I didn't catch the weekly video. I was live when you launched the video and never got back to it.
What do you think about? What do you think about the Xbox One? Is it going to be more powerful than the Ally X, which is the most powerful X, or is it going to be better than the base model Ally?
I don't. Well, the thing is, what logic would tell you it won't be more powerful, because if it is more powerful, they're going to have to charge more money, and they're going to try and want to move these things out the door. But if you're charging $700-800 for this thing, how much are they charging for the other one? Do you know offhand?
The base model, I swear, is like $700 US.
Jesus Christ. Okay, and on the most powerful one, you're talking what, like closer to what?
$800. I haven't even priced out the ROG Ally X because I bought the Z Extreme or whatever it is. I don't even know what this one is, honestly. Holly, that blue number, recommended it. There was 2 models at the time before the black one came out. That's the X, I think. This is the Z Extreme, I'm pretty sure, and it's
holy crap.
It was in Canada $700+. Yeah, it's $800 after tax.
With tax over here, it's like $1,400, almost $1,500 here in Canada. To make it more powerful than the ROG Ally X, you'd have to charge more. There is not a soul on earth that'll sell as well as the $3,000 Apple VR headset.
The Vision, whatever that thing is.
Yeah, whatever the hell it was called. Yeah, it would not sell for that much money. So logic would tell me that it's going to be not as powerful as the ROG Ally X. Just based on simple numbers and the way things are moving, people are not going to be paying that much for a handheld. Very, very niche market of people would be paying that kind of money. And why would you even bother doing all this if you're not going to sell it?
Yes. Jay Foley, if you're in the US, I would wait till this reveal. I would assume this new Xbox Asus ROG Ally handheld will get its reveal in the summer and come out like in early fall, maybe. I would wait to see what that thing looks like, because some of the reasoning might be that this thing will be more powerful than the Ally X because, if they're making a new one, they want it to be more powerful. They said it's got better battery, better storage, and better performance, but they don't say against what, the base model ROG Ally or the Ally X. My prediction is that it's more powerful than the one I have here because it's, a year newer, but Mag is right. Xbox is going to have to sell this thing for $699. And that's kind of a hard sell. And it's not even that's a hard Xbox sell. Games. It just plays PC games.
Well, yeah, and like if you're talking $700 for a handheld, and people were like JV Smooth again in the chat. He said if you think the PS5 Pro is niche, a handheld is even more so. He's absolutely right. And then if you're charging the same as you are for a PS5 Pro, and people were bitching about that, mind you, the people who were bitching about it didn't buy it. They were not even in the ecosystem, most of them. They're just doing it because it was popular. But the thing is, you want a handheld at the same price, if not more, dude. That ain't the way. Like for something like that, you got to charge $499 to $599. You can't. You just can't do it. You can't do it. People are not going to buy it. There's too much competition out there already. And what's the incentive? I don't get it. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Sorry, it's just me. I just find that handhelds need to be accessible. And I mean accessible, I mean financially accessible for the average consumer.
Which
$700 US, that's not accessible to the average consumer. $1,000 for a handheld.
Even the Switch
That's not accessible.
Switch 2 is a little iffy, which we'll get into in a bit here.
We'll get into that shortly, yes.
We've got Next Gen Barbaric with a $5 super. Thank you, buddy. Just finished watching the Treehouse Mario Kart World videos. Really does look like Forza Horizon style of open world gameplay. Drive anywhere, race here to there. I haven't watched much of that, but that Lego 2K Drive game had an open world that gave you lots of cool stuff to do. But it's just up to your miles to see if you'll like that. But I don't know. I don't really get excited about Mario. RDX Son of Fett, thank you for the Canadian $2.79 super chat. Says, tariffs will screw over the Switch 2 for sure. Nintendo just put out a quote today saying, for their pricing, they said, we just look at each individual game and look at the content value of that game. Then we say, what is the right price for the value of this entertainment? They also said that the tariffs did not play into their pricing of the Nintendo Switch at $450 in the US. And if you're just joining the show, we've been talking mostly about Xbox, but there's some Nintendo news that is really important because millions and millions and billions of people play on Nintendo, but their effect on the games industry will affect whether you play on Xbox or PlayStation or PC. Because last week we had the reveal of the Nintendo Switch 2. This really pisses me off. Nintendo has been in Gen 8 since 2017. They've been in basically what is essentially Gen 8 being the Xbox One PS4 era since 2017. which was midway through that generation for everybody else. Nintendo just got to Gen 9. Generation 9 with the PS5 and Xbox Series console mag. And they were like, oh, we're here. We haven't been here yet. We were back there. And you guys changed prices to $70, 5 years ago. Well, we're here now 5 years later. And we're now saying the new price is $80 and publishers can charge whatever they want. So there was reports from a ton of media sites that said that games were going to be 90 physical. Nintendo never spoke up and said that was misinformation or that was misinterpreted from Euros. Every site and every influencer reported on 90 like it was gospel. No one course corrected it other than people saying, well, look at the website, the stores. Target doesn't have them for 90. So I'll take it to you, Mag, on this, that Nintendo now says their handheld is not $300. Now they've jumped up to $450. Is it justified, in your opinion?
I've talked about this several. I released 2 videos on my channel this week alone about the Nintendo situation, about the reveal, and then the aftermath. I did another video about the aftermath of it. I don't so much have a problem with the price of the hardware, and I'll tell you why. As it stands, even up here, it's $700 without a game. It's $800 with a game. It comes bundled in with Mario Kart for $800. The thing is, with that kind of hardware, you're going to get longevity out of it, right? Like that's a one-time investment that you could keep for upwards of 7 to 8 to even 10 years if you want, right? So you've got that hardware. That kind of an investment is not that big of a deal. My problem is the software is the issue. When you start charging what you're charging for the software, because that's where you're going to keep going back to the well. Whereas when you buy the console, you're going to the well one time. Right? And you go to there one time, you buy your console, and that's it. That's your investment for the next 10 years. You break down $800, not even, let's say $700, because like I said, $800 is including the game. $700 over the course of 10 years, it's barely $75 a year you've paid as your investment for that game. Or sorry, for that console. So that's what you're paying, right? Okay, fine.
Yeah.
It's the games. It's the software. So that now you're worried about every time a new game comes here, you're like, holy crap, here we go again. Now, I did tell you before, they really went crazy up here in Canada with these prices. It's absolutely insane. So as it stands, of course, I did the conversions and, of course, added our tax on top of that. The digital copies of games in Canada are going to be $128.99 for a digital game.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's
much is
$30.
How much is a brand new Resident Evil game if you get the standard edition? The regular
PlayStation
AAA?
Or Xbox, if I were to buy like a AAA, like whatever, a regular $70 game is it's 104 or 106 with
and
tax.
And then Nintendo's regular
they
big
added
games
another
are 128.
They added another $23. That's hold on. That's for the digital. If you want to buy the little chiclets, like the little cartridge, you ready for this?
There isn't a $10 upcharge for physical that I found.
But people are still talking about this $90.
They're still talking about it because there's something going on here that's not being explained. But everyone has all this proof saying there's no $10 X charge. There's no $90 US physical edition of anything. And I said this in my video, even though I have a couple of tweets that I put out over the weekend, referencing the $90 thing because Nintendo's greedy as F. There is no proof or addressable answer from Nintendo that there is an additional upcharge for physical games. But there is some sort of communication that said that there's an upcharge for a physical version of the game, which is like on this special card that has a QR code or whatever, and you still have to download it from their network. I don't know. Help us out, chat.
If indeed, okay, so let's just say for argument's sake, if indeed they did have that night, because I kept seeing the $90 for the physical.
All right, say that, and then we have to take a better stance. But go ahead.
All right, I'm just saying, if it were the conversion would be $148.77.
Oh my god,
for a physical game in Canada. That's $150 for one game. That's
pretty much double of what we're used to for a long time.
That is insanity. Now, mind you, I'm also in Canada. We're also paying a lot of tax up here, and then on top of that, our exchange rate is terrible right now. Our dollar's worth practically nothing compared to the American dollar, so that doesn't help either. But I mean, still, 148.77.
Uh-oh.
You guys are. It's just our cost of living is absolutely, completely out of control up here. But that being the case, 148.77 is not an attainable number to be able to go back to the well repeatedly to buy new software for the Nintendo Switch too. That doesn't, and that now, like I said, that's if indeed they do have $90 physical games. If they do not, then we're still paying $129 because it's $128.99 for an $80 game in Canada.
Does that number, like in your mind, kind of feel like too high for a video game?
Way too high.
Does it hurt that the game's this big? Yeah, I have this aversion to.
Actually, that bothers me more because for whatever reason, the physical size of it actually pisses me off that it's so small. I'm like, if I'm paying that much money, for some reason, I want a cartridge this big. I want it so big. When I hold something like this,
I'm like, if I had to order a new remote, right? I'm like,
yeah,
that's about $25, $28. That's what it feels like. You know, it feels the weight. It's like the old joke from the old comment from Jurassic Park, the original, right? The little kid picks up the night vision goggles and the lawyer
heavy?
says, "Are those heavy?" Yeah, do it.
Yeah, is it heavy?
Yeah.
Then it's expensive. Put it back. Right? That's the line. But you know what?
Line,
if
bro.
I'm paying $128.99 for a game, I want to carry it into the house like Indiana Jones and Salah carried in like the Ark of the Covenant. I want it so big that two of us have to carry it on wood planks with the music playing.
So do they need to add like little lead weights to the cartridges so we can feel better about it? Because we're old,
just
right? Like it's got the Nintendo Switch is bigger. It better just feel girthy when I pick it up for that price.
Yeah, I want it. I want this thing to be. If it's going to be that expensive, I need it to feel heavy and I need it to be gigantic. That's all it is.
Clip that.
Don't clip that. Clip him. Clip Colteastwood because he said it needs to be girthy. That's what he said. So anybody want to clip that? Clip that nonsense.
We need a remix where I talk about Gaze Dawn and then we talk about the girthy and that'd be amazing.
Gaze Dawn and then move right on to it needs to be girthy. All right.
Is it heavy?
Yeah.
Put it back.
Yeah. Is it heavy? Yeah. Then put it back. Then it's expensive. Put it back.
You sound.
And then he gets eaten by the. And then he gets eaten by the T-Rex on the toilet. Best scene in the whole movie.
Yep.
Oh,
they don't make them like that anymore. This is how you know we're old.
God, dude, that scene. 15 minutes with no music.
Yeah.
It was just the rain. You remember that? I saw it in the movie theater, and I was in a huge theater.
Yep.
And it was like one of those, like not just like regular movie theater. It was like one of those like concert movie theaters, you know, the ones with like the big curtains and the whatever and the monster screen. And we're watching it, and I swear to God, that scene sucked all the oxygen out of the room. And I've never seen like 400 of the most captivated people and possibly watching one of the most intense scenes in movie history was when the T-Rex walks in, and like I said, no John Williams score. There's no like, there's nothing. It's just silence, thunder, and rain. And this thing comes out and you're going, holy.
Yep.
And you're just like, yeah. And then, of course, the lawyer.
The one that got me was, do the lawyer voice again. Put it back.
Is it heavy? Then it's expensive. Put it back.
The one that got me was when they lowered the goat. How old were we? We were like 15 or something when that came out.
Oh, 14, I don't know. I was 50. I'm 106 now, so I was like 50, 58, 59.
What are you, Aragorn? You're like, you must have been 78.
I'm one of the Dunedain. I lived to 300. Yeah.
Yep.
But my father was a boy back then, and you were already a man. Yeah. Shout out to the Dunedain.
Yeah. When they, by the way, we are sorely due for someone to make a big AAA action adventure, or maybe even semi-open world Lord of the Rings game. what studio would you be putting in charge of a Lord of the Rings, like semi-open world, like action adventure, even Hogwarts Legacy-esque? Oh, I just gave
the Coalition.
Coalition?
No, I want the Coalition to do it. Stop making, after they do Gears E-Day, make a Lord of the Rings game. I want Coalition to do a Lord of the Rings game.
It would be amazing
for everybody.
What about Portkey, who made Hogwarts Legacy? Like, they knocked it out of the park. Couldn't they do one? They
did, but like I think that Lord of the Rings needs something a little bit more combat heavy in terms of like the chunkiness of it and the heaviness of it, and like the orcs are very similar to the bad guys in like Gears of War. You know what I mean? They move the same, as those, as the guys, whatever. And I think that would be the better option. I'd go with the Coalition, plus the graphics and everything else, and the use of Unreal Engine 5. Hell yeah, we haven't had nothing but maggoty bread. For 3 stinking days.
Yeah. What about the legs?
Can we have some meat? Yeah.
They don't need their legs.
Yeah. That's a great line. What about their legs? They don't need those.
Yeah, they don't need those.
They do look tasty. They are not for eating. They go to the White Wizard. Anyways, let's carry on with this show. We're going to talk about Nintendo Switch.
Wrong song. You're late.
Yeah. The wizard is never late, Frodo Baggins. He arrives precisely when he means to.
You fool of a took.
Anyways, that's enough for now, folks. We're going to get back to video game talk. Colt and I are having too much fun here.
In the chat's like Shadow Mordor devs.
I mean, that's pretty obvious.
We'll do a Monolith M.
Yeah, hit M in the chat for Monolith that is no longer.
Tim Richards has a line for you to yell in the chat.
Where is he? Oh, meat's back on the menu, boys.
The girth is back on the menu. Shout out to Game Seeker
Alex LaRock. Ubisoft 10 years ago would have done a great Lord of the Rings. Sorry,
facts.
Carry on.
Yeah, facts. Yeah. Thanks, Game Seeker, for sending a channel membership to Capono 5150, who's got a great number next to his name. Christian 5916. That's another good number. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Says Xbox can release a god tier handheld, but is nothing without the support from developers. The Switch 2 version of Street Fighter 6 already looks better than the Series S version. Really? I have not seen this.
I have not seen that. Oh, that's funny. You and I said the same thing at the same time. I'm like, I have not seen any of that. Yeah. Well, interesting.
Yeah, it's all up to developers making.
Are they doing that comparison now? Is that what they're doing? Is that the new thing?
Probably, but DLSS is better than FSR 2 or whatever, or FSR 1 that Series S has on that. So maybe it looks sharper, but I'm sure Street Fighter 6 looks good on an S.
I figured at this point now they're going to start using that comparison to get people all riled up because, getting people riled up is what gets clicks, right? Yeah. So, that'll be the new thing, comparing the Switch 2 to the Series S and this and that. And then all of a sudden you have the two camps fighting with each other. And then YouTubers get more clicks on their, clickbait videos. Yeah, I could see that. That makes sense to me. That makes sense. Anyways, carry on.
Some of the things we're seeing for the Nintendo Switch are a bevy of ports like Cyberpunk, Street Fighter 6. What else? Older games, right? Some D&D things. Split Fiction. What else?
Split Fiction is a huge bonus. That's a great game to have on the Switch. That was a great one. The other ones, I mean, if you haven't played Cyberpunk by now, what the hell are you doing? I saw Middle Girth. Yeah. Who was that?
Maverick said.
Yeah. Why did Max Gandalf sound like Severus Snape? No, I didn't. I did not.
Never Potter. Yeah. No, I don't know.
Biglow Ravens, is that your name? Mag is not a Sith. I don't deal in absolutes, man. Well, I don't. Anyways, Split Fiction's a great choice. But like Cyberpunk and like Street Fighter 6, if you haven't played those games already, you weren't going to play them now. And you're not going to buy them for damn near full price on the Switch, too. That seems silly.
I do
Split Fiction, absolutely. It just came out. You know what I mean? It came out last month. So that's a great game to launch on the Switch. And it's a great Nintendo-ish kind of game where, you got co-op going on, couch co-op, online, whatever. I think that's great. So that's a good choice. And of course, like I said, so far it's still my game of the year. Without a doubt.
I was going to grab an article here, but
yeah,
this I have to get it on my phone because I'm not logged in as I reset everything to Windows 10. Zocker87 shared an article that a bunch of developers are really happy with the Switch. See if I can find it. Shoot. There's a bunch of inappropriate messages. There's a picture that I'm not proud of. No, I'm just kidding. I'm trying to find it here because he said we're kind of riding.
The ones that I sent you.
Yeah, we're kind of. I'm in a group chat with Fonz and Zocker and Gaz, and we've been going after Gaz because Gaz claims that a lot of the developers won't make games for the Switch 2, but it sounds like they are, and I'm really ticked off that I'm not seeing this right away. It should be right here. It was a VGC article that reported I'm stalling, and I'm going to give up here in just a moment if I don't see it. Oh, here it is. Okay. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, we did call it Video Games Chronicle. I am so sorry that took so long. I really apologize. I know your time is precious. Thanks for your here. This is episode 195. Meg and I are live for XNC Podcast. Hit the like button. The article is so bright, you'll never be able to see it. Well, I mean, here it is for proof. And it says, third-party developers say Switch 2's horsepower makes them extremely happy. And I have postured many times that developers would finally consider the Switch as a porting platform because it has some power. So do you think we're going to see a lot of big games, Mag, come day?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a super chat coming up about it from Paul. I won't read it right now, but because we'll go in order. But if the game is going to be hot, it'll sell. Yeah, it will. But I just don't think that. I don't think Street Fighter 6 is it. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like the kind of game. Cyberpunk could go either way, but like I don't know. Even Cyberpunk, I'm like, not really sure. I'm not really sure.
Power will absolutely come to Switch 2. Marvel.
What? Oh God, I can tell you, Power World will do incredibly well there because that's Nintendo. It's very Nintendo-ish, and it's kind of geared towards that. What's that? That's a stupid game my kids play. Oh, Roblox. It's very Robloxy, and I'm like, just whatever. But that's the demographic. They'll do incredibly well over there.
Yeah, I think so.
Incredibly well. It's like Minecraft. It's like Minecraft on any Nintendo product. It's just made for Nintendo. You know what I mean?
What we weren't factoring in is, I think the reason why C Marvel 360 said that is kind of tongue in cheek. I almost said tongue and tweak, which would be a totally different maneuver.
Geez, Colt, another thing. You got to watch your mouth tonight.
I'm sorry. You know what? I apologize. Nintendo has 2 lawsuit patents against Palworld for copying Pokemon. And so I didn't realize that. I mean, I wanted to complain about that. And Malik says Palworld's better than Pokemon. Absolutely. Yeah. See, Marvel's laughing. Nintendo won't get that port because they're trying to sue Pocket Pair.
You know what?
About that.
I feel like such a jackass. That joke went right over my head. I didn't even remember. You know what? I'm so ashamed I'm taking my hat off.
I'm so ashamed I'm taking my hair off.
That's it. I took my hair off. Look at this. Look at it. Look at how upset I am. I just realized the joke, and I'm like the joke guy. That's like my thing. And I completely missed the bloody joke. Unbelievable. How did that get over my head? I have no idea.
It went right by me, but I'm not very smart.
Dude, it went like right over my head, man. I was just like, oh, that's right. They have a big lawsuit. Never mind. Scratch what I said for the last 5 minutes, folks.
Speaking of, Mag,
Our world is not going to do well on the Switch 2.
But we're not wrong. Like if it was on Switch 2, it'd do amazing.
It would do incredibly well, but it will never do well now. I'm going to have to retract my statement because it's never going to come out. Anyway, sorry, go on.
Speaking of, I have to ask you about 2 different things. Have you seen the videos where they like take a curved piece of cardboard and they spray like the dude's hair and fill in where, have you seen that?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
I was like looking at that. I mean, you and I are Gen Xers, and way back in the early 90s, maybe late 80s, they sold this brown spray paint. You remember it?
Yes. And then you just spray like on your bald spot. You sprayed on your bald spot so it looked like you had a full head of hair. So you like to go.
It just colored your scalp, right?
Yeah, that's it. You colored your scalp so it made it look like there was hair. Like, can you imagine getting close to someone and then actually seeing that?
It says like the can says Rustola. Dude, I love the shirt, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Can you imagine? It's like I can imagine the smell of like that spray paint when they would spray it on their scalp. But this thing is like it's like one of those little like and it sprays like little fibers and like the dude comes in like me, right? And then they go like this. And then he goes to the prom and he's like got a full head of hair. And then there's this other thing where they shave you all the way down and they put like Elmer's glue. And then they just put this toupee on your head. And then they blend it in. It looks amazing.
Oh my God. Yeah.
These are things that we have to cover on the show. They're so important. Hit the like button if you
It is what it is, man. What are we gonna do?
Yeah. Give us a hair emoji of some sort in the chat if you feel like one day you'll be bald or you are. Just it's okay to admit it. It's all part. 60% of men will be bald by the time they're 107. So it'll be okay. And Maggie, you're getting up there and you're duodyne.
Yeah, I am. The Dunedain years are approaching. I'm approaching 107 actually myself, and then I got another 200 solid years. Then I'll be out of my teenager years, and then I'll be in the middle age at that point.
You're in your tweens right now.
Yeah, I'll be in my teenager years. Yeah, that's exactly how it's gonna work.
Let's see. We got. Thank you for the handheld question about Street Fighter 6, Christian. We got Ichabod Crane. Thank you so much for the $5 super Ichabod. They said, I went to play Mech Assault 1 and 2 on Xbox Series X, and they aren't back compat. Why, and why don't they revisit the franchise? I mean, they've done things with Mech Assault, haven't they, at this point? Like, they have
I have
Mech
paid
Assault
very little attention to Mech Assault. I know it's there. I just don't know much about it because it was never really my jam. So I'm not the guy to ask, unfortunately.
Yeah. Noise Fomo wants to know how long before Switch Online prices go up. I think Hargate was telling me it's like $30 or $40 a year. It's like really cheap, but they paywalled the party chat feature. But I guess you can't party chat unless you're online. So they just don't have a way for you to chat and they make you pay for it. But yeah, I don't know. Soon, I guess. Paul, thank you for the $2 super chat. Says Witcher 3 sold over 1 million copies on the Switch 1, which is good because it launched there a couple years after the game came out. So
yeah.
I don't know if we have anything else to cover about Nintendo, but apparently this Oblivion thing that we've been bouncing back and forth about, this like impending Oblivion remake that is like apparently a full thing and is supposed to just drop on us sometime in April, is most likely coming in the third week of April, but insiders have claimed earlier and they've kind of had egg on face. How are you feeling about it?
No, not earlier.
Can you tell everybody about it? What do you know?
Well, I literally just released a video right before the show.
I know.
About an hour before the show, yeah. And I was talking about it and what's happening. By the way, please go check out the video after the show. It's only 4 minutes, 5 minutes, but I give some information there about what's happening. I'm still hearing from several people the same thing, and of course now, funny enough, I believe Jeff Grubb came out with it today, which was hilarious because as I was doing the video, I looked down, I get a notification seeing that Jeff Grubb. I'm like, Jeff, couldn't you have waited till I finished? I dropped the video, but no, he couldn't wait. So anyways, same information that it's coming sometime between now and the 22nd. The reason why is because ESO Online is having an event, a 10-year anniversary event that launched on April 3rd, and it goes to the 22nd of April.
They had their 10-year anniversary event last year. What is this event that I didn't?
Or 11 years, whatever. Yeah, it's like an anniversary event or something like that, and it's like they're going into their 11th year or whatever the hell it is. So they're having like this anniversary thing. I don't know. They're giving out like online cake and like XP or whatever for this event, and it's going from the 3rd to the 22nd. So now the working theory, I know that there's someone out there who actually has the date, but he won't tell me because he's being a pain in the ass. But he won't tell me the exact date. He's hanging on to it. But either way, it's coming in the next few weeks, and it's going to be a shadow drop. My guess, which would make the most sense, and this is what I talked about in my video, which I expect everybody to go see after you're done listening to the show.
Links in the description. So check
links
it out.
in the description. Anyways, I think that on the 22nd, which is a Tuesday morning, the event ends at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think that as soon as the event is over, you have somebody come out from Bethesda and say, hey, guys, and it's also made by Virtuous Gaming. Have someone from the head of the studio and someone from Bethesda come out and say, hey, guys, I hope you enjoyed the ESO event, this and that, whatever. As a treat to all the people that are part of the Elder Scrolls community, here we go, effective immediately. Oblivion Remake is now available in Game Pass or to purchase on Xbox, PlayStation, PC. Boom, and just drop it right there as soon as the event is over. And that would be my hypothesis that the best option would be the 22nd. If I hear otherwise, I will report otherwise. But one of the guys I know, like I said, he knows the date, he just won't tell me. He's hanging on to it for there's a reason he's hanging on to it, but either way, it's still within a few weeks. So everybody, and the funny thing is, I've been reporting that back in January. I remember I said it back in January on this show and on my channel. I said that Oblivion Remake was coming in April, and it may or may not be a shadow drop. Not 100% sure, or the other rumor was it was going to shadow drop at the June showcase. So those are the two options that Microsoft was playing with in terms of how they were going to drop this game. So I went with both of those. But the funny thing is, as we get closer to it, more and more insiders are starting to corroborate my story that, in fact, it is April and it's coming out as a shadow drop. So my guess would be the 22nd, if not sooner. Wouldn't that make sense to you? Would you do that, Colt?
Yeah, my prediction would be like the 21st or the 22nd. Yeah, and it's just a shot in the dark, but...
Oh, man.
But, it could be by the end of the week,
Colt, I can't hear you anymore, dude.
What? Okay, hold on.
That's strange.
Check. My mic's still going. They should be able to hear me. I'm still moving. It's on your end, maybe. I'll keep talking until you can hear me. And I'll watch the chat to see if anybody says anything.
I can hear myself,
the Shun
but I can't hear you.
Showcase. Shoosh. You still can't hear me? I'm going to keep talking. Hold on. I don't know how to tell him. I'll just message him and say that he should go into Discord. Discord is
so
like
weird.
this.
Okay, you know what I'll do? I'm going to drop out and jump back in because that's really strange. I was talking and now all I can see is Colt's mouth moving and nothing else.
Go to voice and video.
That's incredibly strange.
Video. And I'm sure you guys can hear him too, right? Yeah, you guys can hear us both. Go to voice and video and reapply your settings. It's Discord's really dumb that way. It'll say I'm using this mic, I'm using these as an output or whatever, or input, and then it'll be like, huh? And I'll have to go default and come back to it. So hold on. He dropped out here. I'll go here like this. So thank you for being here. I don't have my big light on, and I kind of like this right here. How do I look?
There we go. I can hear you loud and clear now. That's so strange, isn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Knock it off.
I was doing my smolder. I was telling them that Discord says you have the right setting, and it's like, I don't know. So
yeah, it was so weird. All of a sudden, you were like a kung fu movie, bad edit. I could just see your mouth moving, and nothing was coming out of it. And I'm like, what the hell just happened? Yeah. And I could hear myself, I could hear everything, and
I could hear you.
Yeah, that was weird.
And they could hear us. Red Light Special, great song by TLC. Go download it today on Napster. It's a good song. Yeah.
On Napster.
Yeah,
go to LimeWire, folks. Go to LimeWire.
Go to
Napster shut down.
Go to Kazaa or LimeWire. Yeah, Game Seeker sent me these two bulbs. I bought lamps for them, and I kind of like this lighting here. But
my lighting got warmer because I actually bought studio lights, not ring lights. I bought studio lights, like the ones with the stands. Yeah, and the ones that you could adjust the thing, and it basically floodlights it like a movie set.
Yeah.
So behind my setup, I got three literally Hollywood movie set studio lights coming down, so it sends a warm, a more even glow now.
Yeah, there was a time when you didn't have all the right lights and you were yellowish, but you got a nice cool.
I know.
This is what you want.
I figured it out now.
Look at Mag's camera. He's got the proper they call it white balance, but he's got the proper flesh tone. He looks handsome. He smells like dragon fruit, and it's
dragon fruit. Maybe Hugo Boss. Yes, we're not sure yet. Brothers Grimm, you haven't let me know.
Wait, if you can get my eyes to not squint, look at them. They're nice. These are nice. That's a nice boulder. If anybody knows what movie that's from, I say it all the time. That's a nice boulder.
God, what is that?
Does it sound familiar? Look at that boulder.
No, it doesn't.
That's a nice boulder. Yeah.
No, damn it. Why can't I get this? And I usually get these things.
That's great. I miss Jaundice Mag.
I miss Jaundice Mag. Yeah, thanks.
Yep.
No, I fixed all that.
We got Biff Rinaldi. Pocket Pair already said they're coming to Switch despite the lawsuit. I'm already balding at 40, so there's that. Laugh out loud. Yeah, I noticed
balding at 40? Dude, I was balding at 20.
Like, when did you know that it was over?
It was over when I was 19. I started getting a receding hairline at 19. Like, like the parking spots, they were going further and further back, and that was at 19 years old. Like, I was like, because I started slicking my hair back.
This?
Yeah. And that was happening when I was like 19, and I'm like, whoa, because I was like slicking, the in style look in the early 90s, like 93, 94. 94, I was 19. Slicking your hair back was the look, right? You kind of shave the sides in the back of your head a little bit, and you kind of like, slick back
like
the
top.
Puddle
of mud thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just like, okay. And I look kind of cool, but I'm like, God, what happened? And I'm like, the parking spots were getting bigger, dude. Already by the time I was in my 20s, I was already losing my hair. It was gone.
I don't know if anybody in the chat is a hairdresser or hairstylist or barber or anything, but I think there must be some kind of unwritten rule that you don't tell your clients if they ask. Because I asked people who were cutting my hair, and my cousin, she's a hairdresser, and I said, am I losing my hair? And she looked at me and goes, and then she didn't say anything. I'm like, I'm asking you, like, it's okay, you can tell me. But she wouldn't tell me. And I remember back when I was about, I don't know, 25, 26, one of the in styles was like the Hobbit haircut, right? Like the moppy, like curly, you can bring it down, and it was big. And my brother-in-law was younger than me. He had that hair, and I started to grow it out, and I was in a band, and I noticed that it got so awesome, except for right about here. And I'm like,
yeah. Well, I also started working in restaurants at that time, like in my 20s. And that's when I was like down in the dirty with the restaurants, no air conditioning, busting our humps, this and that, whatever. And so like hair was just not a thing. Everybody shaved their head bald because it was too effing hot to have hair, right? So everybody shaved your head bald. So by the time I was 26, I already started shaving my head bald, and that was it. I never went back. So I just kept shaving it ever since. And now I'm 50. And so literally 24 years later, and that's it. I just shave my head the same time I shave my face. So like when I shave my beard, and trim my beard, whatever else. And then I just basically put like a giant, like Michael Jackson 70s afro of like shaving cream on my head. And then going down to like, what's that painter's name? Bob, what's his name?
Bob Ross.
I was about to say Rick Ross. No, not Rick Ross. Bob Ross. You know how he has like the afro and like the beard?
Rick James.
Yeah, Rick James. I look like Bob Ross, like with the white hair and like the white afro and the white beard, and then I just shave like, all of it in one shot, and that's all there is to it. Yeah, it looks ridiculous. I'm gonna post a picture on Twitter next time I do it. I'm the one who knocks.
Another
that's who I am now.
Yeah, Ichabod Craig says, "Where's the Manscaped plug?" No kidding.
Where are you, Manscaped? We're right here, bro.
Another thing that pisses me off, like I was like 19 or 20 when I needed to make sure I shaved all this, and this is the first hair to go gray. I'm like, but I've had this the least amount of time. Doesn't make
but you
sense.
know why? Because as soon as you have kids, you lose sleep. And when you lose sleep, your hair turns gray. So that's when, and it's funny, it's not like a phenomenon, it's just a natural fact that the less sleep you get, and you do when you have children, you basically are on, like, how like the military does like sleep deprivation exercises. That's basically what you do for 5 years.
That's longer than that. I call those the dark ages.
It's when the dark kids are little with kids, man. You don't sleep. Like that's when you become a man for real, because you see these little pussies come into work at like 19. They're like, "Oh, bro, I drank like 5 beers and then I slept 11 hours. I'm so hungover." I'm like, "Oh, really? I had 27 beers. I slept 2 hours and I'm at work and I'm 50 years old."
Not me. I'm like,
you know what I mean?
Sorry.
So you know what gets you ready for that? Kids. Because when you don't sleep at all because of kids and then still have to go to work, you get that you get your training in. Anyway, that's what turns your beard gray because the lack of sleep. The lack of sleep
I would say,
changes the follicles in your face.
This guy's like, I had a fifth of whiskey and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I had 2 bottles and I changed 3 diapers last night. And I'm like, I didn't even drink the bottles. I had to make 2 bottles.
Yeah, the kids did. The kids did, man. The kids drank the bottles.
I could change a diaper with one hand in the dark. That's what you have to do. Just grab both feet and change the diaper with one hand and not a piece of crap on the carpet. It's amazing. But
yeah, I know.
We've all been there.
I don't drink 27 beers in one sitting. Are you mad?
26.
Maybe like 26. Yeah. Thanks, Colt. Yeah.
You bet.
27 is intervention time. 26, I'm fine.
Thanks, Biff Rinaldi, for bringing up us being bald yet again. It'll have to be a timestamp on the show thanks to, it's my fault. Yeah. Screen Name with the $2 super chat says, no Mech Assault has been revisited. Yeah, there's like Mech Warrior is what it was. Mech Warrior 3 or whatever.
Okay, yeah. Mech Warrior, yes.
To me, to you and I, aren't they kind of the same thing? Because we don't know.
Yeah, to me, like it's not something I.
Is it a mech?
Yeah, the only mech thing I play is what's it called? Titanfall, and I don't play Titanfall anymore right now. So my son still plays Titanfall 2.
There's a report now that
Titanfall 3.
We'll save it for another show when something actually comes out of it. But yeah, Titanfall 3 would be great. Let's see, Jay Foley.
They're saying that December we're gonna get the reveal in December at the Game Awards. That's what I heard.
That would be a good place for that.
Yes, that's when they say they were going to reveal for Titanfall 3 is next December.
I'm going to be excited about that, even though we don't like Mech Warrior or whatever, Mech Assault.
But Titanfall's amazing though, because like you could jump out of the stupid thing and then you're Call of Duty again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you want. When I'm playing Borderlands 3, I'm using Mose, the girl with the mech, and I'm like, I get in the mech. I'm like, that's not really how I play Titanfall, and I'm like, it's not Titanfall, but now I just like bring out a miniature one and it goes around and stomps around while I'm on foot. I love that.
Yeah, I prefer that. Yeah.
You like 2 more than 1?
I liked 1 more than 2.
Yeah, you're the same as me. So good.
Yeah, 1 was way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jay
2 was too mechy. The second one was too mechy. I liked the idea that it was a rare occurrence that you got a Titanfall.
Isn't that a movie director, Temeki?
Yeah, Temeki. Yeah, it is actually. You're right. It was too much. Yes, Max JB 17117. He's right. Titanfall campaign though. The Titanfall 2 campaign was stellar. I got 1,000 out of 1,000 achievement points on that because that was amazing. However, the multiplayer, too much mech action. Like they made it way too easy to get the mech, and all it turned into was just a map full of mechs. And I'm like, get out of here with this garbage. It's too much, man.
I
preferred one where one was more
on multiplayer.
Really, I thought it was way, and I also found that destroying the mech in the second one was actually much easier. So like as soon as you got it, you would blow up in like 5 seconds. I'm like,
oh yeah,
I don't feel powerful at all in this thing. I just felt it was overused and just wasted. I preferred the first one because like the first one was just more boots on the ground, and only once in a while you'd get a mech. I thought that was too much.
There was a horde mode that released like on one of the last major updates of Titanfall 1 that I was playing for a while, where it's like 3 or 4 of you, and I played it with Nuke Nukem way back in like 2017.
Yeah.
It was awesome. But we got Jay Foley with a $5 super chat. Thanks, Jay. It says, what do you guys think is directly after the June showcase? Like what will be the big direct? Yeah, what is the direct? My guess is Call of Duty again. I don't think so. I think they're going to want to do something different, but my guess would have been Fable, but they pushed Fable to what I think would be late 2026. So what do you think that the direct is going to be this year for Xbox, Mag?
I don't see why they wouldn't focus on Outer Worlds 2 and Gears of War.
Oh yeah.
Like that would be the next ones that they're going to be launching, right? So it'd be Outer Worlds 2, Gears of War, and Call of Duty. Well, Call of Duty is obvious, but Call of Duty has its own showcase. So what they might do is just do a trailer of it, saying, hi, it's right here. If you want to see more, we're going to have a separate show for Call of Duty. Activision's going to do their own thing for Call of Duty, like after the showcase, another day or whatever, deep dive in the game. They'll do that. So they'll drop a trailer there. They're going to do a deep dive on the Outer Worlds 2, I think, and give us more, you know what I mean? Give us some more exposition as to what's happening, what's going on, and then go right into Gears of War.
Okay.
Because otherwise, other than that, what else you got? You're not going to start showing stuff that's coming out a year and a half from now. Because then there's going to be another showcase a year from now that you could still show that other stuff. Maybe tease a few things.
Do you think?
What's the other one? The one with the zombies. What the hell is it called? State of Decay. State of Decay 3 might. State of Decay 3 might be a thing. Other than that, I can't think of anything else, dude. Maybe the DLC for Indiana Jones.
Their directs have always been a pretty big game, so I'm with you on Gears over Outer Worlds 2, but. Yeah, do they have a rule internally that the direct is made for the game that comes out that calendar year? Then maybe it isn't Gears of War. So, Brandon Christensen.
First of all, I'm hearing nothing yet.
Same.
Like I like the information about the showcase. Nothing has reached my ears yet. So everybody's still hyper focused on April and May. I think maybe closer to May we'll start hearing more about it.
Mid-May is usually when stuff starts to break. Even late May, like right before showcase. And that's when I make a big video and covering that stuff. We have RDX Son of Fett. Thank you so much for the Canadian $2.79. Says, Mag just admitted to drinking 2 hours before work.
What do you mean 2 hours before work? I do it during work. I'm just kidding. I don't do that.
Take it to the limit.
Yeah, I take it to the limit, all right. Dude, can you imagine? I can't show up to work intoxicated. I mean, there's been times where I've walked in sideways, but not intoxicated. Anyways, just kind of like still from the night before, like totally lost, but whatever. Any soldier does that. I think we missed a super chat from the doctor like way early on in the show.
We did. Thank you. I remember seeing it. I was going to call him out for being your amazing cousin. It's right here. I don't know how I missed it. I am so sorry, doctor. I hope you're still here. Thank you to the doctor for a Canadian $6.99 super chat. Says, is the Switch 2 the Ferrari of consoles? Mag, would Masha, my ex-girlfriend, be impressed and love me again if I bought her one and Mario Kart World?
Oh, my God. He is obsessed with this ex-girlfriend of his. And listen, dude, you're not buying a Switch 2 for her. You're not even going to buy a Switch 2 for yourself. You don't even own a Switch 1. So what the hell are you talking about? So don't even bother. And no, it's not the Ferrari of gaming consoles. Not even close. The only one, and this is going to piss a lot of people off. Right now, the only Ferrari out there is the PS5 Pro. The next is the Series X. The next after that is the Switch 2, then the Series S. That's the order. Sorry, I forgot about the PS5. The PS5 and the Series X are basically the same thing.
Yeah, they are. Ish. Yeah. Game Secret.
And then somewhere in the mix, where are we going to put the handheld? Where do you want to put the handheld? Well, we don't even know.
Slightly above the Series S, probably.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Depending on how much they charge. Sorry, what were you going to say, bud?
I don't know. I'm just nothing. It's hard for me to get excited about the handheld market right now until they do something.
I am
really
not
cool.
even remotely under. I obviously follow the stories because I keep up with the industry and I want to know what's going on and whatever else. And obviously, I keep well informed. However, I just personally, on a personal level, I have absolutely zero interest in buying a handheld, and there is zero chance I'm buying it. Yeah. Zero. Like right now, I'm at a 25% chance I'm buying the Switch 2. 25%. It's slowly growing on me because I have a serious problem with FOMO. The pre-orders are tomorrow, by the way, up here in Canada. So, like, I could buy it tomorrow, and you know what? It's going to be really hard driving home from work.
What's that going to do when like UK, EU, Japan, Canada, everybody can order one except for US. Isn't that the situation?
Well, it is for now. But the funny thing is, I was thinking about this. I wonder if they allocated more to these other countries now that there's a slight delay in pre-orders in the United States. Like, for example, let's say they allocated, 5 million or 10 million consoles for Canada, right? And I was like, okay, we can, we'll take 5 million pre-orders for Canada. Do you think they allocated more because right now there's a delay on the U.S.?
I mean, can they shift something like that?
Okay,
or
we're
is there a lot
giving
of planning?
6 million. I don't know. I'm just asking a question, a hypothetical question. I don't know. Like, I'm just wondering because, like, I'm going to drive home from work, and there's a GameStop literally 2 seconds from my house. So I might just drive over there and just talk to the dudes because I know those guys well. And I might just go talk to those dudes and just be like, yo, you guys got any pre-orders left or whatever? Because usually they hand out numbers and stuff. But the last time we did that was during the pandemic, remember?
The
pandemic was just starting. Yeah.
Would it be harder, in your opinion, to walk into a GameStop or to hit F5 or F4 over and over, whatever it is, F5?
Oh, no.
To hit that over and over on a web page.
I have no doubt I'd be able to just walk in the store at 2. Like, I'm going to finish work around 2 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. I have no doubt I could walk into Game Pass.
Welcome to Game Pass.
Game Pass is not a store, folks. I have no doubt I could walk into GameStop tomorrow and just pre-order one. I might just do it just for fun, just to put a placeholder on it.
How much is it?
You can cancel
Canadian?
Pre-orders.
Oh, that's true.
What, for the console?
Yeah, what is it in Canadian?
Well, $700 for the $700 for the console, $800 with the bundle.
What?
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
What?
It's $700 for the console by itself. It's $800 with the Mario Kart World bundle.
What?
$800. Yeah. Yeah.
What?
It's $791. That's $800 to me. Right? So
what? It says there's a different price. It says $638 is the translation from $450 to Canadian.
Yeah, that's the base one. Now you got to add the tax.
Oh,
we pay 13% tax.
Yeah. Oh, geez. We pay like 8%.
So we get murdered. Yeah, what? We pay almost double what you pay. So because of the healthcare thing, right? So they murder. Well, at least that's what they say. But but we're getting murdered with it anyway. So yeah, like 13% tax on top of that in Ontario. So yeah, so it's $700. We never had a queen. The hell are you talking about, Colt? That's England, for Christ's sake. There's no queen in Canada. We have some sort of ties with the UK, which is already embarrassing enough as it is, the way the UK is these days. Come on, UK, get it together, man.
You guys have a prime minister?
I love the UK.
Or prime rib or something.
We have prime rib, medium rare. We can also get it medium if you like, and we have a prime minister as well.
That guy from
the UK has a queen.
That guy from the Old Country Buffet training video, he's like, smaller slices are more tender or something like that.
That's right.
What he says.
And you always cut against the grain. Remember that. Cut against the grain.
What does the guy say?
It's more tender that way.
What does the guy say? He's cutting the meat. And what does the guy say?
I can't remember.
The customer.
Yeah, is that what he says?
Give
me that.
Give me that. And that's what we say on the XSC podcast. So we say, hit the like button and give me that. And we're out of here. This has been a 2-hour show. Thank you guys so much. One last super chat that filtered in was from my friend Game Seeker. Says, talking about mech games, what about Steel Hunters? Never played it, never liked it. That's my friend MBG would say. I don't know. I've never played Steel Hunters, but there's also Armored Cores, lots of mech games. Lots of mech games. But yeah, we appreciate you guys. Andy Ackerman with a $5 super. Thank you so much for dropping that in. I just saw the replay over here of me doing take it to the limit, and I was pounding beers, but it looked like I was doing something else that would make me a different type of revenue. Andy Ackerman with a $5 super says, no queens, but at least one fairy. Well, there it is. I didn't even read it ahead of time. But
yeah. Where? Oh my God. Who said that? Who said that?
Andy Ackerman.
That was amazing. Thank you very much for that. That was incredible. But you know what? I got to give the Rambo no. Yo, Donnie Kazadi, you can't do it because it was the funniest thing I've actually seen. The Rambo said in the chat there, and this is a good comedy thing, whether you like it or not, I think it was funny. He says Trudeau is the Queen of Canada. That was fantastic. Thank you very much. Listen, man, if you can't laugh and you can't have a little fun and you can't take a couple of jokes, then you're doing life wrong, folks. Just have some fun. I thought that was really funny.
Absolutely.
Have some fun.
About 5 or 6 years ago, Canada had a prime minister or something like Rob Ford or something, and he was like Chris Farley, and people were doing jump cuts.
What was his name? He was a mayor. He was, Rob Ford was the mayor of Toronto.
But yeah, he
was the mayor of Toronto.
Yeah,
he died, and then his brother is now the premier of my. He died from cancer, but his brother, his baby brother, is he's the premier of my province. So it's the same as you guys. You know how you guys have like a governor for each state?
Yeah.
So like in the US, you guys have a governor for your states. Up here, we have a premier. So the premier for my province, which is a state, is his younger brother, Doug Ford.
Okay.
And yes, they literally look like the three of them grew up as like Farleys, like Chris Farley's, basically.
Yeah. And so, you know, somebody put together like quick cuts of him, like fumbly something, like he was even doing a football thing. And I was like, oh, that'd be so great. I wish we had a Chris Farley in America for that. But anyway, yeah, you guys are amazing. Thanks for checking out the show. We're going to catch you next week. Have a great time. Play some games. Stay off of the nonsense.
Go play some South of Midnight. It comes out tomorrow for Game Pass. And what I want to do is I want to get everybody's opinion in the chat next week on XNC and tell us what you think. And you know what we should do? We'll do a poll next week. Why don't we do a poll and put 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or 7, 8, 9, and 10, and then have everybody do a poll, not a stripper poll. I think we should do that. We'll do it. We'll do that. 7, 8, 9, and 10, and we'll do a poll in the chat, and we'll get the chat's opinion and their review of South of Midnight. It'd be really cool to see what everybody else thinks about it.
Yeah,
so I think that's a whole
great
week
idea.
with it.
Yeah. It'll be good. It'll be good. We'll catch you. Hopefully, I've got some content coming. Mag has been cranking out 10 times as much content as I have been. Hopefully, I'll have something this week as well.
I mean, my stuff is short, and it's literally this. Like there's like I'm not like you know what I mean? It's this.
Clip it.
Oh, shut up, Colt. Come on. But you know what, I can tell you this, man. Like Colt does these like Steven Spielberg level like production videos, and here's just me, this jackass with a hat, going, "Well, you know, this is happening." So I just keep it raw and uncut and not uncensored.
And we love
it,
unrehearsed. We love it.
I just do my unrehearsed news, and I do what I do. That's the way I'm always going to be. Just basically guerrilla warfare style, like YouTubing. And Colteastwood is like a friggin' what's his name from like Interstellar? What's that director's name? I always
Rob
forget
Schneider.
His name. No.
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan.
I was close.
We got Christopher Nolan up here, and then you've got me down here, just like doing what I do. But
take it to the limit.
Damn it, Ackerman! Where's those emails? So anyways, everybody have a great weekend. Like I said, go play South of Midnight. I want your reviews next week on XNC. Every last person, I want you to come back and tell us what you thought about the game.
Yes, and please have a fun week and subscribe to both of our channels. We'll see you next time.
Yes.
Mag, you're short, but you've got girth.
Thank you.